side of the division, and that's where they're going to catch the Crew, and they're going to knock them off, and all is going to be right with their world. And I hate to tell them this, but it's not. I just don't think I don't think the Cubs are going to catch the Brewers. They still have games against Cincinnati. Cincinnati's trying to still make a name for itself at some point, although I think Cincinnati's hopes have faded. But and they've still got, some St. Louis. I think the Brewers have 7 games left against St. Louis, if I'm not mistaken. So the Brewers, St. Louis Cardinals have always been somewhat of a tough go, but I think the Brewers are going to win the division. However, it is going to be interesting down the stretch, especially the last 3 games of the season are at American Family Field, and those are against the Cubs. Don't forget. So excited about the end of Brewers baseball. I'm not excited about the end of baseball, but the end of the Brewers. So, and ultimately winning. Excited about that. Did not think at the beginning of the season they would win more than 83 games, but I think they're going to. They're going to be up around the 90 mark again, and that's impressive. I don't know how else to say it, but that's impressive. And for the team they had, the way they scraped by pretty much all season long, and they haven't won anything yet. They still got a ways to go, but for where they're at and the fact that they've been, for the most part, pretty much in the lead of their division all season long, that's been impressive. You got to give them credit for that, man. What a deal they've done. The Packers are getting ready for the Seattle Seahawks and their final preseason game coming up tomorrow, Lambeau Field. The world is abuzz because one young Aaron Rodgers is going to take to the field for the New York Jets for the first time and make his Jets debut. So the world is holding its breath. And I think Packers fans are as well, because nobody wants to see Rodgers go down with an injury that's going to cost him any percentage of snaps this season. So looking forward to that. And then just getting into the weekend. We've got a big weekend coming up. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing for those that follow on Twitch TV, for those that follow on YouTube, for those that follow on Facebook and such. Tomorrow, it's not going to be over the air, but it's going to be on all the other platforms. Tomorrow, we're going to be doing a podcast down at a place called Camp Timberley, which is a burn camp for kids. So we're going to do some stuff down there tomorrow around 11 in the morning, 11 to noon, somewhere in there, just to kind of bring a little bit of awareness to it. So we're going to do that. Off on Monday, it's going to be Grand Bill's taking you on Monday, because Monday I'm going to be at the golf outing, Fisher House golf outing down at Geneva National. And today will be spent. Now, this is one of those days where normally when I say this, people would go, "Oh, that's so cool." But it's actually, this is a lot of work. Today, as I was up this morning early, today is a day where I'm driving from bar to bar to bar to bar to bar, picking up bottles of booze. No, they're not for me. But we have the wagons that we fill up at the golf outing, so we have to go collect all the booze today. Yeah, you know what I was doing this morning? I got up this morning, Grant. I popped out of bed. I was watching, I was flipping through. I was watching everything from SportsCenter to Good Morning Football and listening to some radio this morning and doing a little work. You know where I was at 8:30 this morning?
No. Out at the tiki bar?
Nope. I was standing in line at Woodman's as they opened the doors to the liquor store. We had a couple of people that could not donate bottles of booze, so they donated cash. And so this morning I had to get up and do my due diligence in getting as many bottles of liquor as I could for the amount of money that was donated, which I did a pretty good job, actually, because I kind of know what people like. So I did a pretty good job, and we went over and bought this morning a bunch of liquor. And I walked up, and this is like from 8:30 until maybe 5 till 9, 10 till 9. I walked up to the cash register, and the woman that was the checkout looked down and I had 2 carts at this point full. She looked at the cart, she looked at me, she looked back at the cart, she just went, "Wow, that was it." And I said, it's for a charity. It really is. And she went, "Okay." Like, I don't believe you for a second. Like, you should be at a meeting going, "Hi, my name's Bill, and I have a problem." But it was all different types, all different kinds of stuff. So it's a lot of stuff that people like, but it's all booze.
I just want to get the image in my brain, because radio is an audio medium. You were standing at the door of Woodman's at the liquor store looking at your watch, waiting for them to open with
Yes.
a massive fistful of cash. That was the picture this
Well,
morning?
with the credit card, yeah, with the
too.
donation credit card, but yeah. But I'm going up and down the aisles. You know, you go up and down. You're in the mixer aisle. You know, you're looking for the vodkas and the Tito's and the flavored vodkas of 360, and you're looking for all of that. And you're looking for some of the old smoky moonshine, and you get your traditional Jack and Kessler's and Maker's Mark and stuff. You get those bottles, you know. Then you get a couple of, you know, because you would rather spend on a lot than spend a lot on one. So you're not buying these really high end whiskeys, you know. So you buy a couple that are in the $20 range for a bottle. And then you got, you know, some Jack Daniels and, you know, you can buy the smaller bottles of Tito's for, I think it's 16 or 19 bucks. And so you're trying to average out just less than $20 a bottle is what you're trying to do for the amount of money we had to spend. And we had a pretty good amount of money to spend to fill up two carts full. But yeah, so she looked at me and went, wow. It was priceless. It was like, no, it's really not for me. And then, you know, you can't be a bar in there and reselling that liquor. So she knows I'm not working at a bar. And so I just had to explain to her, you know, that type of thing. Oh, John says
it's for charity.
It is. I told her, I said, it's for a charity outing. And she went, oh. And she just nodded her head like, oh, I don't care. Either I don't care, or I don't believe a word you're saying. You look like you're a booze hag. And I could have been. Who knows? So that was my morning, out buying booze and shopping for booze. And then this afternoon, Kristen and I jump in the cars, and she goes one way and I go the other. And we have, I think it's about 5 or 6 bars. We need about 40 to 50 more bottles of booze, believe it or not, to fill up the rest of the wagons. So we got our work cut out for us. So we're going to go out and start shilling and begging and borrowing and stealing and stuff for charity to pick up the rest of the bottles of booze. So that's our morning. So there you go. 877-867-1670. Want to hit us up? Feel free to go ahead and do so again. 877-867-1670. I'm going to start off today with a topic we've started off a lot with, and that's Jordan Love. And I was on my way. I got home today, and I did some stuff with our buddy Ernie over in Viroqua. And Ernie says, you know, hey, Bill, it seems like you've softened on Jordan Love. And I was out yesterday. We ended up going to dinner last night, and we were out working for the motorcycle ride last night. And somebody had said to me, you know, oh, you've backed off of your stance of Jordan Love. Oh, way to go. You know, kind of sarcastically. And I said, whoa, wait a minute. I'm going to clear something up here. So it's not, what I always try to be is honest. Okay. Because you don't want to, you have an opinion, and if your opinion changes, great. If it doesn't, great. But I've said this, and I'll stay steadfast to this. In the preseason, Jordan Love really hasn't done anything wrong. He hasn't done anything wrong. He's played well. He's looked good. He's had 25 total passes, I think, in 2 games. Plays specifically designed to, you know, give him the best opportunity to be successful, to build his confidence. So he hasn't done anything wrong. And the national media has jumped on board that Jordan Love's the real deal. Here we go, you know. And my argument is, well, we haven't had a team specifically scheme defensively for him. The last time we did, it didn't work out well. Teams are running relatively vanilla defenses. The Packers are running relatively vanilla offenses. He's trying to get on the same page with some young guys, and they've done well. They haven't made mistakes. Okay, so that's fine. But you're talking about like a total of 5 series in 2 preseason games. And people are ready to go, I told you, he's great. It's like, nope, not going to go there. Again, 25 passes, 5 series, 2 preseason games. That's the body of work you're ready to jump off on? You don't die on that hill yet. So it's not that I've softened. It's just that I'm honest. He's played well. He's played well. I mean, he hasn't come in and looked like trash. He hasn't, you know, overthrown a bunch of receivers. None of that, you know, none of that. So, I'm I'm good with that. And because we're being honest, doesn't necessarily all of a sudden make us these Jordan Love lovers. Like we're on the, bandwagon of Jordan Love. I hope he does well. My opinion of I don't know if he will or I don't think he will has not changed. We don't know. But I get it that a lot of Packers fans, I think all of us Packers fans want to see him do well. There are some hardcore Aaron Rodgers fans that want to see him go down in flames and say, see, I told you, Rodgers is better. You should have paid attention to him. Gutekunst, you suck. And I think there are people rooting against Jordan Love, not because they don't like Jordan Love, but because they want to see Brian Gutekunst fail. So, and there's people that do that. So, but my point is I haven't changed my mind. I've reported what is the truth. And if he continues to play well, then we'll continue to kind of mold our perception of Jordan Love. But I thought it was pertinent because I start to get these people that go, aha, it's like, there's no aha moment here. It's 25 passes or whatever it is in 2 preseason games. Come on, man. Let's wait till we're 5, 6, 7 games into the season. We'll know after 3 or 4 games. We'll know. Good, bad, average, above average, indifferent, whatever. We'll know at that point. But for right now, yeah. The big things that I'm hoping for are, one, is the offensive line stays intact and is able to protect him and it's consistent and they're able to grow together. And then the second thing I'm hoping for is that the defense rises to the occasion. It's time. It's time for this defense to do something. It really is. I mean, for as much as, and I was watching this morning on Good Morning Football, for as much as we've discussed the defense and Joe Barry and the talent and, this guy's good, this guy isn't, blah, 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 and the safety position is of concern, and it's like, look, they've been drafting, they've been picking talent, they've been finding talent in this. It's time for this defense to stop with the moniker of if they can only be top 10. It's time for them to be in the top 10. And if they're not, it will be an incredibly disappointing season. And we have become so numb to the fact of, well, if they can just get near that. And I say it all the time. If they can just get near top 10, if they can just get by. No, for as much as they've drafted and as much effort and money as they put into the defense, it is damn time the defense stepped up and became something other than an, oh, by the way, and something other than you really don't have closing capability. You're just there to hope you can stop a team every now and then so the offense can score points. It's time for the defense to be an asset to this team and not just an, oh, by the way. And to me, that, as much as we talk about Jordan Love, that should be one of the biggest topics, is there should be all kinds of heat on Joe Barry, Matt LaFleur, and the defense to be something, because it's time. And I know people want to say, well, the 8 first-round draft choices. Yeah, they have 8, 2 of which are coming back from serious injuries. So they have 6. And 1 is a rookie who is yet to develop his moves. So they have 5. But this defense, it needs to be something this year. The defense has been overlooked and overshadowed, quite frankly, for so long because of the presence of Aaron Rodgers and now all the speculation regarding Jordan Love. And we go, oh, by the way, I hope the defense is good. Yay. No, my ass. It's time for the defense to be something. And it's time for the microscope to be on the defense and on the defensive coordinator and the pressure to be on Matt LaFleur to make this defense good. I know he's got his own deal going on with trying to make Jordan Love into something. I understand all of that. But you held on to this guy in Joe Barry. You said this was going to be great for stability and continuity. And Gutekunst has put, again, another first-round draft choice over on that side of the football. It's beyond excuse-making at this point. It really is. I mean, I get it if you get hit with mass injuries. Okay. But, my God, they've been drafting defensive players in abundance for such a long time. Either one of 2 things, really 3. Okay, either 1, you have really poor leadership when it comes to the ability to teach defense or get everybody on the same page. 2, you have woefully overestimated some of the talent you've drafted. And if so, that's the case. Don't lay it at Joe Barry's feet, then it's right at Brian Gutekunst's feet. But it's time for this defense to be something other than an, oh, by the way. And that's today where I kind of feel like, yeah, today, the as much as we want to talk about Jordan Love, focus today is all on the defense. Should be on the defense. This is, again, we talked about who has hot seats coming into the season, and Joe Barry has a hot seat. It should be like flaming, like he can't even sit down because he will burst into flames. That's how hot the seat should be. And as much as they put an effort into the defense, it should be both Brian Gutekunst and Joe Barry for those two guys to say this thing better be really freaking good. Really freaking good. 877-867-1670. Hit us up. 877-867-1670. Hey, our friends over at Steel Tank Brewing, Dave and the gang, they are getting set for a wild ride. We're going to have a terrific motorcycle ride coming up on Sunday, September 3rd. And that is going to be the landing point for the motorcycle ride. And we're looking forward to it. We can't wait. We're anticipating a great time. So thanks to our friends at Steel Tank Brewing on Robrook Lane in Oconomowoc. Thanks to them for being a part of the program. We certainly appreciate it. Stay tuned. Whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
I'm coming.
Hi, Mark Tauscher.
Boy, you just never know when or where you're going to pop up. This time, it's my house.
Can I come in?
You're already standing in my living room.
Tausch, you have mosquitoes in here.
Oh, yeah. It's like an insect zoo right now at my house. Heads up. Here comes that wasp again. Incoming.
Shoo! You need Palla's 250 series of windows with exclusive hidden screens. They fit inside the actual window and protect you from nature.
Okay, now that's just brilliant. Yes, please. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin to the rescue.
You got anything to drink around here?
Yeah, just go right ahead and make yourself at home, I guess.
Ooh, root beer.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Good to have you, the Bill Michaels Show. We continue on. This portion of the program brought to you by our buddy Dwayne. Dwayne's Cover It All up in up in Wausau, I should say, up in Wausau, and you can check him out. Simply go to Dwayne's DUANES Dwayne'sCoverItAll.com. That is Dwayne'sCoverItAll.com, and you can whether it's boat covers. I mean, this time of year is when you start thinking about getting that cover done, so the off season isn't brutal on your boat, or maybe an awning out in front of your business. You name it, he can do it. Get a hold of Dwayne, DUANES, Dwayne'sCoverItAll.com. That's Dwayne'sCoverItAll.com. I know that the live stream's acting up a little bit today, so for those of you that let me know, we will correct that at the bottom of the hour. They are working on it. So I know that some of the things that pop up have been like staying there, and they can't change things, and the programming's goofy. So and maybe the sound might even be a little bit goofy, but they'll get it taken care of. We're gonna shut it down at the bottom of the hour. So just an FYI. This is from Chris. Chris says, hey, Unit, you are 100% dead on. I've said all along, if Jordan Love's going to have any success this season, the defense is going to have to give him the ball back a couple of times, and Joe Barry's defense is going to have to be stifling so he doesn't feel so pressed to be perfect. A quarterback that feels like he needs to be perfect is a quarterback that plays tight. And if this defense cannot create turnovers and cannot stop anybody, Jordan Love is going to feel as if he has to play perfect. That is not capable for a young guy under center for the first time to be able to do. Joe Barry has all the pressure in the world on him. It's not on Matt LaFleur. Well, it is because Matt LaFleur chose to keep him. I understand why. I'm not arguing that. But it's Matt LaFleur has pressure as well. Because let's just say the offense is pretty good. And we've got yet again a defense that can't stop anybody. I mean, you look at it this way. You got Kenny Clark and Devontae Wyatt on your defensive front, both first-round draft choices. Kenny Clark is a pro bowler, right? Devontae Wyatt coming into a second year, looked good at the end of last season. Now you see if he can step up. TJ Slayton's a fifth-round draft choice who now, and don't get me wrong, I believe they held on to Dean Lowry a contract too long, but so be it. But you've got TJ Slayton kind of anchoring the middle. You drafted Colby Wooden. You drafted Carl Brooks. You drafted Lucas Van Ness. You drafted Carrington Valentine. Go back a couple of years. You drafted Darnell Savage. You drafted Jair Alexander. You drafted Rashawn Gary. You drafted Quay Walker. So all of those guys are your guys. All of those guys. Anthony Johnson Jr., your draft choice. All those guys are your guys. You got what, 14, 15 guys on this defense, 16 guys in this defense that you drafted. 17, actually, if I go with, I forgot about Shamar Jean-Charles. 17 guys on your defense you drafted. Think about that number for a minute. You drafted them. And your defense, you're just trying to get to the top 10, right? You got to hit, man. You got to hit. Anthony Johnson, Anthony Johnson, Carrington Valentine, Carl Brooks, Colby Wooden, Lucas Van Ness. All those guys were drafted this year for your defense. Quay Walker, Devontae Wyatt, Kingsley Angbare, Tariq Carpenter, Jonathan Ford. All those guys drafted in 2 years to fortify your defense. Eric Stokes, TJ Slayton, Shamar Jean Charles, Isaiah McDuffie. Those were drafted 3 years ago. I mean, 17 guys are on this roster that you drafted, defensively speaking, that are drafted. That's not talking about guys you brought in as free agents or the undrafted college free agents or anything. Those 17 guys to fortify your defense. If you don't get it right this year, you may never get it right. This has to work. It just has to. 877-867-1670. Mark says every first round draft choice since 2012 was defense except Jordan Love, right? Everyone. And we keep talking about, well, when are they going to get better at stopping the run? When are they going to get better at pass rush? The last time they were really good at pass rush was the year they brought in 2 free agents, Preston and Zedarius. That was the last time they were really good at pass rush. This defense needs to be better. Hands down. Am I off base here, Grant, or am I blowing smoke?
Well, no, I think we got so used to just saying, well, if the defense could be just top 10, right? You said that. How many times have we said that the last 10 years, Bill?
Yeah.
Right? But with Aaron Rodgers on the way out and a quarterback that's not as expensive and you listed the investment they made into this defense, we should start to reshape our thinking a little bit. We should start it. They should be top 10, right? And then only they should go up from there. It's not about just being good enough anymore. They have to be the strength of this team.
I agree. Let's do this. We'll step away. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports.
Welcome back. Good to have you. The Bill Michaels Show. We continue on. Hopefully you're enjoying your day as we continue on this Friday, and not bad weather over the weekend today. A little bit cloudy, a little bit gloomy today, but for the most part, for what we've had the last couple of days, not bad. Not a bad way to go. Going back to the Packers and the defense, Jason said the Packers were ranked 4th in rushing yards last year. They were ranked 4th against the run.
Huh?
Last year. That's what Jason's saying. I don't remember that. I would have to go back and check, but did not think that, to be quite honest with you. Just an FYI. Statistically speaking, when you go back to last year and against the run, now yards per game and such, when you start to, depends on what you look at for your rank, so to speak. They were not 4th, by the way. The Green Bay Packers were they were 25th against the run. So, Jason, I have no idea what you're talking about. They gave up 139.5 yards per game. 139.5 yards per game. And they were 25th overall as well when it came to total yards rushing given up. So whatever you're talking about, I would go back and check my math. Not happening. Let's see here. Jake says they've been awful against the run. They can't stop the run because Quake Walker can't get off a block, and Kenny Clark is far overrated. Kenny Clark is, first of all, he's not overrated. Okay. Not when you're recognized by a lot of different players in the league. Okay. It's not just, voting and MVPs and defensive players of the year and getting into Pro Bowls and Pro Bowlers and all pro and stuff. It's when you are voted by guys in the league as one of the better nose tackles and guys up front in the trenches on the continuum, you're not overrated. Okay. Secondly, I look at it as you also have to have help. You can't be a one-man band in the middle. You can be good, sucking up a double team and still helping to stuff the run, but you have to have guys alongside you that also are going to dictate attention. And if you don't have that, then you're going to struggle. To me, football is one in the trenches. Always has been, always will be. And that's why this year you're hoping, here comes Devontae Wyatt off of that championship Georgia defense from a couple of years ago, a guy that was just a mauler. And last year he had flashes at the end of the season when he had opportunities to play. He looked pretty damn good, not only in just brute strength, but in quickness, his feet, his arms, everything. He looked really good. And then you have TJ Slayton, who's been in the system now a couple of years and gets it and understands it. So you're thinking the defensive trenches should be good. Then you got Preston Smith, and then you've got Rashawn Gary, Ngabari, Lucas Van Ness, your Devondre Campbell, your Quay Walker. You're stacked there. You're stacked there. So your defense overall should be better because you're better up front. You, at least on paper, are better up front. Now, Rashawn Gary's going to take a little while to kind of fully get back into the mix, but you should be better up front, which should then lead your secondary to be better as well. Even if you have a mediocre, average secondary when it comes to your safety, but your corner position should be pretty good. I mean, Jair and whomever else is out there should be good. And if you get Stokes back, and if Stokes comes back to play the way he played his rookie season, you'll have one of the better corner duos in the league because he was that good without Jair. He was that good. But even if you have a mediocre safety group, if you put pressure on quarterbacks up front and you're able to stuff the run, you're going to be a much more dominant defense. Because that's in the trenches is where things are won. You can pressure a quarterback, make quarterbacks throw quicker off their base, so to speak, because of the movement, because of the pressure, because they feel it. All of that starts up front. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to find us, do it. Now, the Packers, in yards giving up against the pass last year, they were, sixth? I think they were sixth best. They were better against the pass than they were against the run. But overall defense, total yards per game defense, they weren't even in the top 15. They were 17th. 17th in yards per game last year. 17th in yards per game. Now, in points per game, they were 17th. They were 17th in points per game. They gave up 21.8 points per game last year. 17th. That's not going to cut it. The expectation is with as many guys as you have and as much draft equity as you put into this team for the defense, you got to be in top 10. You got to be. There's no excuse for this anymore. You got to be in top 10. And it wasn't really until the last 4 or 5 games, maybe 6 games of the season, that things started to really kind of look better defensively for this team. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. I would love to get your thoughts on this. Rick says, imagine what this team could be with a healthy pass rush, right? Right? Okay. Jason says, Matt LaFleur abandoned the run. Offensively speaking, see, Matt, I guess sometimes when you read over in the live stream, it's because of they have their own show over there. They have their own show. So they're all over there arguing. So, okay. He's talking about Matt LaFleur abandoning the run. Gotcha. Even offensively speaking, I didn't think the Packers, when it came to rushing yards last year, the Packers, by the way, they weren't fourth running the football. Just an FYI, they weren't that good.
We used the eye test with the run defense, Bill. Just think of that Philadelphia game, right? They couldn't do anything. They were helpless.
Yeah.
Like they could do nothing. And that's what happened in 2019 against the Niners or 2016 against the Falcons. So they don't have to be amazing against the run, but when they come up against a really physical, really good run offense, they can't just give up 250 yards because we've seen them lose playoff games that way.
The Packers, by the way, were 15th in rushing the ball. 15th in rushing the ball last year. So they averaged 124.5 yards per, or 124.3 yards per game rushing last year. By the way, the Bears, that's because of Justin Fields, averaged 177.3. The Ravens, because now again, these are quarterbacks. The Ravens averaged 160 yards per game. It wasn't until you get down to the Falcons, who actually had a run game, at 159. Then the Giants, Saquon Barkley. The Eagles, a lot of that's Jalen Hurts, but they were good, 147.6. Then the Browns, 49ers, Cowboys, Buffalo Bills, Carolina Panthers, Lions, by the way, Commanders, Titans, Jaguars, and then the Packers at 124.3 yards per game rushing. They weren't even in the top 10. They were 15th. Just so we're clear on all of that. 877-867-1670. Hit us up. Would love to hear from you. Our friends at the Four Seasons Island Resort, they are huge when it comes to our motorcycle ride coming up on Sunday, September 3rd. Thanks to them for being a part of the program. Thanks to them for their donation, putting their money where their mouth is. That's our friends at the Four Seasons Island Resort. Call our girl Barb, 715-938-5110, 715-938-5110. Use the promo code Michaels15 to get 15% off your stay. That is a great place to go. And they're coming to the end of the summer. We all know that. You still have the UTV and the ATV trails open. The golf courses are still open. But in wintertime, December, January, February, when the snow starts to fly, then the snowmobile trails are open up there. And that's always a good time. So either any time of year, check it out. The Four Seasons Island Resort. Again, call Barb 715-938-5110.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Summer's winding down, but Road America is still racing. Get your tickets and family fun information at roadamerica.com. That's roadamerica.com.
I'm coming.
Hi, Mark Tauscher.
Boy, you just never know when or where you're going to pop up. This time, it's my house.
Can I come in?
You're already standing in my living room.
Tausch, you have mosquitoes in here.
Oh, yeah. It's like an insect zoo right now at my house. Heads up. Here comes that wasp again. Incoming.
Shoo! You need Palla's 250 series of windows with exclusive hidden screens. They fit inside the actual window and protect you from nature.
Okay, now that's just brilliant. Yes, please. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin to the rescue.
You got anything to drink around here?
Yeah, just go right ahead and make yourself at home, I guess.
Ooh, root beer.
Right now at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, bundle and save. Get a 250 series patio door and 8 double hung windows with hidden screens for as low as $188 per month. Visit PellaWI.com today. Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details. Offer ends 8/31/23.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Good to have you back. The Bill Michaels Show. Statewide. All over the joint. This portion brought to you by our good friends. Good friends, which we experienced a little bit during our outside broadcast the other day. And that's our friends over there at Master Z's. We had the patio furniture out. The bar stools were out. We said, F the heat, so we're going to stay out in it. And there is still plenty of time to enjoy the outdoors and the patios and such. And maybe you're going to start doing the fire pits, whether it's gas or wood. They have those. There's some in-store specials you can call about. But if you are starting to think about maybe when the leaves start to fall, God forbid, the snow starts to fly. But at least make the indoor living that much more pleasurable, whether it's home bars, bar stools, dart boards, the accessories, the beautiful pool tables that they have. And everything from regulation size to scaled down bar size, shuffleboards, table game, you name it. I can go on and on and on. They've got just a huge selection, and people come from all over to stop into Master Z's for a lot of their in-store specials. And because the quality is unbelievable, call them 262-746-5931, 262-746-5931. They're on Blue Mountain Road in Brookfield, which is great because they're right down the street from me, which I can go over there and sniff and smell everything every day of the week. But check out our friends. Blue Mountain Road in Brookfield. That is Master Z's, 262-746-5931 for all of the in-store specials. Good stuff. We got Jim Trado coming up a little bit later on today. We've got the Craftsman Truck Series, NASCAR, returning to the Milwaukee Mile. We're going to talk with Jim coming up a little bit. Do we have Brian Billick? He's going to be a possible scratch today, Grant? Am I?
Yeah, he said he had a couple things come up this afternoon, so might have to push to next week, but I still got my fingers crossed that
okay,
he'll come through.
So we are going to be hopefully at some point chatting with Brian Billick, the Super Bowl winning coach from the Baltimore Ravens years gone by. We're going to chat with him and compliments of our friends over there at X-Tech Pads. We also, don't forget, have our guy Mike Clemens coming on. So Mike will be joining us a little bit later on today. So that's coming up as well. Rick says that's why Barry's defense is called death by 1,000 cuts. True. Last year in the beginning of the season, it was just the motto, and I understand it. You want to keep everything in front of you because you don't want to let it get behind you, a la Kevin King in the game against Tom Brady and company in the NFC Championship game at Lambeau Field. However, when you give cushion, when it's 3rd and 7 and your defensive backs are playing 12 yards off the ball, you don't need to be a Mensa meeting member to figure out that you're giving up a first down. And then 4 more opportunities to get a crack at getting another first down or getting into the end zone. And that's the way the Packers lived last year via the Joe Barry defense. So it was frustrating to watch, to say the very least. It just was. It was very frustrating to watch last year via the Joe Barry defense. So that's why you're hoping that this year that the mandate or whatever it happens to be coming from Brian Gutekunst, who kept saying in the offseason over and over again, we need to put more pressure on the quarterback. We have the talent. We need to put more pressure on the quarterback. We need to get more pressure. We need to get more pressure. He said it a bunch of times. I mean, that's going to be the edict this year is you better start putting more pressure on the quarterbacks to make everything around you better, Jason says it's going to be incumbent upon the run game this year to be better to support Jordan Love and to keep the defense off the field. Do you not feel this is correct? I do. Although, don't get crazy on me with the run game. This is not a run-first team. As good as the running backs can be, it's really still a passing team. All the fortification that they've given has been to the passing game. It is a pass blocking defense. The draft choices have been to bolster the passing game. You can support the run game, but really it's more of a West Coast style of offense where you pass the ball to run it. You don't run it to pass it. But the fact that you've got a decent offensive line when it comes to run blocking, they're not great. They're not, you're not talking about the Hogs from years gone by in Washington. You're talking about a decent run blocking team where all they got to do is create a little bit of a gap, and usually Aaron Jones can get through it. Now it's up to A.J. Dillon to kind of create his own, and whoever else they keep beyond that, we'll wait and see. But this is not a juggernaut when it comes to run blocking. It is set up to be make no mistake about it, it's set up to be a passing offense first. So got 3 more hours yet to go. Don't forget the last hour of the show is going to be Mike Clemens live in Green Bay getting us all set. And today is bubble day. Today is the day when we talk to Mike and we start looking at guys who may or may not make this squad. Will it be Malik Heath? Is Bo Melton gonna make this team coming out of Seattle from last year when they picked him up? You know, is there a low-end draft choice who may not make it as a wide receiver? How many are they going to keep? You know, they've got a pretty good plethora of offensive linemen. They've got 3 tight ends that they've drafted. Will Josiah Aguara find himself on a chopping block because of kind of the tweener that he has? You know, we got all of that. So today is kind of that bubble day. We'll get into that discussion about who may or may not make this squad. A lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. It's all coming up right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, training camp is wrapping the Green Bay Packers as they prepare for their final preseason game tomorrow at Lambeau Field. Matt LaFleur was asked as the regular season nears, does he like where his team is at?
I like the attitude of the team. I like the competitiveness of the team, but it's just it's hard to answer those questions. You haven't played a real NFL game. A lot of it is how do you handle adversity, and so. But as far as the attitude and just the competitive spirit of the team, yeah, I love them.
The Packers will host the Seahawks tomorrow at noon for preseason game number 3. Then week 1 is September 10th down in Chicago against the Bears. To the majors, yesterday the Milwaukee Brewers head off. They're currently riding a 5-game winning streak, and they're 3 games up on the Chicago Cubs for first place in the NL Central. They get back into action tonight as they're back at American Family Field as they welcome in the San Diego Padres for a 7:10 first pitch.
Are you a non-union construction tradesperson proud of what you do? Did you know you're worth so much more than what you're bringing home today? Put the power of LiUNA union labor to work for you. When you join LiUNA, you get the pay you deserve, plus pension and healthcare benefits above and beyond your compensation. That's 0 deductions for pension and healthcare benefits with LiUNA, because you're worth it. Learn more at liunawisconsin.org/join.
The Milwaukee Bucks star Giannis Antetokounmpo said in an interview with the New York Times yesterday that he will not sign a contract extension when he becomes eligible next month until he's comfortable knowing the organization will continue to compete for a championship. And finally, we're just 8 days away from the Wisconsin Badgers hosting the Buffalo Bulls at Camp Randall to open up their 2023 season. For the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network, I'm Ebo.
Welcome back in, one and all. Good to have you. Bill Michaels Show. Everybody's on the network now. It's a Friday. The heat passed. That's okay. We survived. Did any of you burst into flames? Come on. Come on. Nobody did. We're all good. We're all here. Loving it. At the top of the hour, you probably heard that Giannis had made a statement about not signing a long-term contract extension. And everybody went, but it's something that I've said all along. He's waiting to see if there's going to be the long-term commitment to remaining competitive for a championship. I mean, he's putting the ownership group on notice. That there's nothing wrong with that. I think a lot of fans are kind of saying the same thing. Now, I think signing Giannis to a long-term contract keeps you competitive. So I think it kind of, chicken or the egg. But I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with Giannis saying that. There is a sincere panic that has gone through the Bucks fan base with Giannis going, I don't think I'm going to sign that long-term extension. He's not. I've said it all along. As long as they are doing everything they can to win a championship, he'll be here. But what he doesn't want to do is get stuck into a situation where he is he's the centerpiece of crap. Where it's like, hey, Giannis, go get us to the postseason and we'll suck up the money and you go do your thing. No, he's not in on that. He wants to win. He wants to win. Now, here's the other part of this. Last year, he did not. Now, he had the back injury, I know. But last year, when the Miami Heat stepped it up in the fourth quarter of each one of those games and were whooping your ass, you looked slow, you looked old, you didn't step up. So as much as you can say we got to be competitive and I want to see them do anything and everything they can and blah, 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 blah. In the big moments, there were guys around you, Giannis, that didn't step up. So the whole thing about, I want to keep my guys and I want to keep the band together and I want to do this and I want to do that and I want to dictate, and that's fine. But in big moments, that's when you take ownership and you say, hey, they did what I asked them to do. Now I have to deliver. So we'll see. Keep shooting from beyond the arc. The commitment to win. Keep shooting beyond the arc. I know it helps because if he hits a couple, then the defense has to come out on him. Therefore, the Euro step suddenly becomes more effective. Understand that. But come on. So that was a little bit of news coming out of the Bucks organization. Brewers back at it. Padres in town tonight. So American Family Field is going to be rocking it yet again. The heat has passed, so it's going to be a little more pleasant weekend when it comes to weather-wise there. And today is, for guys that are practicing in Green Bay and going through film study and weight training, and they're getting ready for the end of the preseason. It's bubble day, man. It's bubble day. Who is on the bubble officially? Who? Well, there's the difference between getting cut and being told, hey, we're going to let you go, but we're going to bring you back. So you got to figure if you go with 6 wide receivers, Watson, Doubs, Reed, Torrey, those 4 are there, right? Now, who are the other 2? Dontavian Wicks, Grant DuBose. Does Malik Heath, who's had a pretty solid camp, does he make it? And then there's Bo Melton, who they went and got last year, who they picked up out of the Seattle organization. So there's 4 guys. Out of those 4, 2 guys can make it. Who are the 2 guys in the bubble? You got your offensive lineman. Got your starting 5. Usually you keep 2, 3, 4 more, depending on how many you need. So you're going to have Josh Nijman, Sean Ryan. Walker's look good. Caleb Jones was on the practice squad last year, and I thought he played pretty well. He hasn't really done a ton. They also, don't forget, they went out and got James Empey, the backup center, Cole Schneider, the backup center. Who's on the bubble there? Tight ends, Luke Musgrave, Tucker Kraft. We know that. Probably going to carry 3, so you would assume just by process of elimination, Josiah Deguara would make it, a 3rd-round draft choice. The Swiss Army knife, who has never found a place on this team. Do they find somebody else that gets cut off of another team? That's a possibility, too, to fortify the tight end position. You know who your quarterbacks are. Jordan Love, Sean Clifford, Alex Magoo. Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon. Who is the third? Wilson, Goodson, Patrick Taylor, Lou Nichols, who they drafted in the 7th round. Bubble Day. Bubble Day coming up. Because at Tuesday, 3 p.m. Central Time Tuesday, cuts need to be made. You've got a fortification of guys up front. Carl Brooks, Colby Wooden, Jonathan Ford are all waiting in the wings, defensively speaking, behind Kenny Clark, TJ Slayton, and Devontae Wyatt, who, if any, you've got, some of the others that are the college street free agents. Lucas Van Ness, Angabari, Smith, Preston Smith, they're going to be there. Rashawn Gary. Then who? Justin Hollins. Behind him. You got 4 or 5 guys that they just picked up to kind of fill out the squad, but who's behind them? Right? Stokes is there. Alexander's going to be there in the secondary corner. Rasul Douglas, Carrington Valentine, who has shown some flash. Keyshawn Nixon, obviously. Shamar Jean-Charles, Ennis Gaines. Who's going to be back there? And then the free safety in the other strong safety position with Darnell Savage, Rudy Ford, Tavarius Moore, Jonathan Owens, Anthony Johnson Jr., Dallin Levitt, who's been here. Got Bubble Day going on, man. It's always, and then there's going to be, if you're going to say, okay, who is the surprise cut? It's like every year there's a surprise. Now, last year I remember saying that, and I don't think there was really a big surprise. But who might be the surprise cut this year that gets let go?
I was thinking Mike Daniels a couple years ago. That was a shocker. Josh Sitton back in the day. I just glad that we have Mike Clemens joining us for Bubble Day, because I can't think of a better person to talk to on Bubble Day. Because, day one of training camp, a lot of the media is getting there. Oh, Jordan Love, Matt LaFleur, Luke Musgrave, and Mike Clemens is in the back, looking around. Now, who's this Malik Heath? Now, 6'2", 213 out of Mississippi State. Now, this kid, he's got something. This is the day that Mike was built for.
Yeah, Mike's been pretty good at finding the flash. A couple of guys who he's high on, and said, hey, this is somebody to kind of look out for. And there are people like Mike, when you have the ability to look at a player and go, okay, that guy's got something. You can just see it. You can see a lot of the college free agents and street free agents. You can kind of tell there's certain guys, they don't really have that flash, that polish. And then a guy comes along every now and then, you go, whoa, wait a minute. How did this guy not find his way into the draft? And Mike's been pretty good at that over the years. So we'll see. Today's one of those good days, like you said. Good day to have him on to talk a little bit about that. And Mike's going to come up in the last hour. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, we're going to talk some racing, because we have to. There's racing returning to the Milwaukee Mile. It's not the ARCA series. It is the Craftsman Truck Series. And we're excited about that, about finally getting racing back to the mile. I mean, it's been kind of a white elephant for a long time. It's just been sitting there. It's kind of been utilized, and now they're actually starting to take a serious look at it. I mean, hell, even IndyCar, I think, is taking a look at it again, about coming back to the Milwaukee Mile and doing 2 races in the state of Wisconsin. So excited about all of that. We'll talk with our buddy Jim Trado coming up here at the bottom of the hour. Rick says, could Samori Toure be a surprise cut? Yes, could be. He performed pretty well last year. Remember, Dobbs really started coming on, then got hurt. Christian Watson didn't have much of a preseason at all because he had the hamstring issue. Got into a game, got hurt, came back, and it started to show his wares at the end of the season. And meanwhile, Toure started to play really well. He got nicked up. So they've seen him do some good things. So could Toure? Yeah, he could be on a bubble. I don't think AutoCAD says, what about Josh Neiman? I don't think Neiman's on the bubble. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. I mean, Josh Neiman has been, like, remember 2 years ago, he played left tackle pretty much the entire season and did it well. So I don't think unless Caleb Jones has come on and performed so well, which I'm knock on wood, I hope he does, because I love that guy's size. But unless Caleb Jones has come on so strongly, I got to think. Now, I know Walker has gotten a lot of play. You've heard a lot about Rasheed Walker. But I got to think Yosh Nijman, just for the experience factor, has made this team. Unless, of course, they feel that somebody else on this roster, given more opportunities, will grow more and have a higher ceiling than Yosh Nijman. But if
they decide to go with Rasheed Walker or somebody younger, I feel like they could trade Yosh Nijman. If they want to reset and go younger and give the next young guy an opportunity to develop, I think Yosh Nijman has a trade market. Not first-round picks, but I think you could send him somewhere for something.
But if you're going to cut him, I mean, why would I trade for him? Unless, of course, you pick up the street free agents in succession, but.
True. And I think Nijman's set to be a free agent at the end of this year. So then they could get a compensatory pick if they keep him on the roster and let him walk next year.
Yeah.
That pick would probably be similar if they were to trade him away now, mid-round.
Right. And you know what? That's probably not a bad spot to get for Yosh Nijman. If you can get a, mid-round pick, and he's only making, I think, $4 million this year. But then again, if you cut him loose, that's, there is no dead cap money attached to him. So, and you're right, he is an unrestricted free agent. So if you cut him loose, you gain $4.3 million. That's it. He signed that $4.3 million contract in the offseason. He's going to earn the base salary of 4.3, carries a total cap hit of 4.3. Dead cap money not. So yeah. I don't think Yosh Nijman is going to be a cap casualty. And I don't think he's going to, I got to feel that he's going to stay. But just for the fact he's got experience too. But Yosh Nijman is, I think, like the 7th or 8th, 10th highest paid player on the team. Bakhtiari is this year. And then who comes after that? Kenny Clark? I think it's Kenny Clark. I can't remember after that. Jair's up there, I know, because Jair's making over 10. I think Aaron Jones is just under that, but I can't. I'm trying to think. Elton Jenkins, maybe. Preston Smith, he's in the back end of that deal, so that's, I think, only like $7 million. But yeah, Yosh Nijman's up there. 877-867-1670. Let's do this. We'll step out. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We got a lot more to get to. The Bill Michaels Show continues on. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends over there at Boondocks Barbecue Burgers and Brews. And they're helping us out the end of the motorcycle ride. Talked to Tom yesterday. They're going to be, we've got a good menu. And the one thing along all the stops is they don't have a lot of barbecue. He's doing the barbecue. He's doing the pulled pork. He's doing all that good stuff for sandwiches after the fact. So our friends over there at Boondocks Barbecue Burgers and Brews, they're going to have the food truck. They're going to be over at Steel Tank Brewing for the end of the motorcycle ride. The ride continues to get bigger and better, and we need you. So thanks to our friends at Boondocks. But if you have not signed up yet, what are you waiting for? And even the weather has gotten better. 84 now, they say, and sunshine. So please get signed up. You are about a week away total from getting boxed out of some of the pre-registration prizes as well. So the weather's not an issue. So I guess my question is, what are you waiting for? Get signed up, get pre-registered, scan that QR code now, or simply go facebook.com/Big Unit Poker Run. Facebook.com/Big Unit Poker Run. Get all signed up for the motorcycle ride and for the pre-registration prizes, which includes a whiskey basket, a weekend getaway up north, and a couple of tickets to go see the Packers and the Bears open up this season, and an overnight stay at the Chicago Sheridan Grand Riverwalk. So you've got 3 great incentive prizes there just to get pre-registered. And you get a little bit of a break on the price when you and a rider sign up. So a lot of good stuff. Let's do this. We're going to step out, take a quick break, come back. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
I'm coming.
Hi, Mark Tauscher.
Boy, you just never know when or where you're going to pop up. This time, it's my house.
Can I come in?
You're already standing in my living room.
Tausch, you have mosquitoes in here.
Oh, yeah. It's like an insect zoo right now at my house. Heads up. Here comes that wasp again. Incoming.
Shoo! You need Palla's 250 series of windows with exclusive hidden screens. They fit inside the actual window and protect you from nature.
Okay, now that's just brilliant. Yes, please. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin to the rescue.
You got anything to drink around here?
Yeah, just go right ahead and make yourself at home, I guess.
Ooh, root beer.
Right now at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, bundle and save. Get a 250 series patio door and 8 double hung windows with hidden screens for as low as $188 per month. Visit PellaWI.com today. Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details. Offer ends 8/31/23.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Hearts of fire, streets of stone, modern warriors, satellite horses of chrome, taste the wild.
Good to have you back. Hey, don't forget about our friends, whether it's an engagement ring, anniversary ring, wedding bands, necklaces, pendants, earrings, anything jewelry related. That's our friends at Kane and Kane Jewelers. And they're in West Bend. And as they said, they want to rock your world. It's kind of a younger, hipper crowd, so to speak, that goes in there. But it is worth it. And it is worth the drive to West Bend, Wisconsin. Kane, Koehn, KaneJewelry.com. That is KaneJewelry.com. And at the bottom of their page, when you go to the website, there is a link there to a podcast called Buy Like a Guy, and it's everything from buying jewelry, especially, during the Christmas season. And if you want to, kind of go through a whiskey tasting or just guy stuff, you can. That's our buddy Andy over there at Kane and Kane Jewelers, KOEHN, KaneJewelry.com. KaneJewelry.com. David says Packers are going to pick up one or two safeties from the wire. Who they cutting loose? Ford, Savage, or both? They're not cutting Darnell Savage. No. They're not cutting Ford. Nope. Ain't happening. Both of those guys going to stick around. I'd be surprised. B-Rad says Love needs to take a couple of good hits tomorrow. No one knows if he even can. One good hit could very well rattle a man. Handfuls of quarterbacks can tell you that. No. No. I don't want to see Jordan Love take a hit. Jordan Love's taking hits. He got hit hard in the Kansas City game a couple of years ago. Remember, Spagnuolo emptied the sink on him. They were bringing the blitz from anywhere and everywhere. He got hit a few times in that the second half of that Detroit game a few years ago as well. So I don't need to see your starting quarterback take a hit. Not this early. Not that, because you always run the risk of getting injured, right? So I hope he never gets hit. I hope he's unbelievably fragile, but he never gets hit. Never. And let's be honest, he knows what he has to do. I mean, just like Aaron Rodgers, when Aaron Rodgers took over for Brett Favre, you are following the Iron Man. And Jordan Love has seen Rodgers play with a busted up knee. He has seen Rodgers play with a broken thumb and get shot up. He's seen about it and heard about it and knows you lose your job if you get hurt. You can lose it unless you're a Hall of Famer, you can lose your job. So no, he doesn't want to go down. 877-867-1670. Hit us up, 877-867-1670. By the way, he said Aaron Jones making $11 million this year. Aaron Jones dead cap money this year is 18.65. His salary is 8.197. He's got a signing bonus of 3.2. Base salary is 1.08. But his cap hit, at least according to Sport Track and Over the Cap, is 8.197 million. David Bakhtiari, the highest paid player this year for the Green Bay Packers. Now I'm sure what's the other one? Over the Cap is the other one. Which one do you use, Grant, when you start to look at salary caps?
I use Spotrac because you can compare the whole team and the whole roster, and I'm really used to that website, so I like Spotrac.
Yeah, I do too. That's the one I use. I mean, some people, use the other ones, but let's see here. I shouldn't be doing this on the air because I should be searching it anyway. But the Packers, right? Oh God, you always go through this. You always go through all the clicks. Aaron Jones, 8.197 is what Aaron Jones his cap number is this year on both of them. So on Over the Cap and on Spotrac, both of them say 8.1. That's where Aaron Jones is. Doesn't vary by much. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Justin says, who has more pressure? Here we go with the pressure questions. Matt LaFleur or Joe Barry? Matt LaFleur has to work on the offense and get it flowing correctly after life after Aaron Rodgers. Joe Barry just has to figure things out and keep a job because Brian Gutekunst doesn't want to even talk about the defense being poor because he has stocked the defense with first-round talent. Oh, I think Matt LaFleur. I think as far as losing your job goes, it's Joe Barry. But let's just say this, if the defense is good, okay, let's just say the defense is good, then Matt LaFleur if the defense, God forbid this team gets into the postseason, but let's just say the defense is good and the offense is good, but, it goes through its growing pains. And this team ends up with, 8, 9 wins, but the defense is pretty good. Then everything Matt LaFleur kind of talked about comes to fruition. Keeping the defense intact and continuity and Joe Barry and see, I told you it would work. In the meantime, the offense is going through its growing pains with young talent. Looks like there's going to be a lot of upside, but it's going through its growing pains with its young talent. Okay. That's not a bad way to go. It gives Matt LaFleur and his judgment credibility, right? Suppose the offense is better than what people thought it was going to be. The young talent is coached up. Jordan Love looks to be like he could be the real deal. And the defense, again, lives death by 1,000 cuts. Joe Barry's gone. The end of the season, he may not even make it on whatever the last trip is. He's gone. And Matt LaFleur, they'll look at him and go, next time we have a doubt, we're going to go with our gut, and you're not going to keep your own staff because we kind of saw this coming. So I think Matt LaFleur has pressure, but there's different levels of there's different forms of pressure. I think Matt LaFleur has pressure to be correct and to make it work. But as far as keeping your job, Joe Barry has that pressure because Matt LaFleur is not going to lose his job unless he loses the team and the team just looks absolutely positively awful. He's not going anywhere. 877-867-1670. That's just my feeling. But if you use that level of logic, Matt LaFleur is not going anywhere. It's not. Hey, when we come back, we got to talk about it because it's finally, something major is coming to the Milwaukee Mile. And for those that are race fans in the state of Wisconsin, we're going to get back into the Packers chatter and such. That's for sure. So don't go anywhere. But I want you to take a listen because Jim Trado, long time race analyst in the state of Wisconsin, been to tracks all over the country and such. And we usually talk to our buddy Steve Zotke, but Jim has been doing the promotion for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series that's coming into the Milwaukee Mile on Sunday of this weekend. And it's time. It's time for the mile to kind of spring back to life. So we're going to talk with Jim Trado about that when we come back. Stick around. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up. Jim Trado going to join us next in the Bill Michaels Show.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Thanks to our friends at Quick Trip. If you are on the go, as I have been the last week, some of the take-home meals, man, those things come in handy, and they're delicious. That's the best part about it. Whether it's the mac and cheese or the fried chicken is out of this world. I'd put it up against anything. But Quick Trip's got it going on, and right now they have sales. I shouldn't say sale, but a special like on bananas, 29 cents a pound. And let's say you want to win a Camaro. Not a bad way to go. You can do that at Quick Trip as well, plus 35 grand in cash. That's our friends at Quick Trip, a staple in the state of Wisconsin. And anytime you're looking for something fast, something easy, or you just need a good convenience store, that's Quick Trip. And they're voted the best in the country, by the way. Just to throw that out there a little bit. Quick Trip, use your Quick Rewards card. And thanks to our friends at Quick Trip. Let's do this. Joining us now over on the hotline, and this is our guy, Jim Trado. It's been a while since we have had a chance to chat. But, Jim, how you doing, pal?
Great, Bill. You're making me hungry. All that wonderful Quick Trip food, man. You got me going. I'm ready for eating there. Come
awesome.
On, bring it on. I'm hungry for some NASCAR, too, this Sunday.
Yeah, I was going to say it's been a while. We were talking about it. It's finally the track. They've run some ARCA things there. They've done some stuff at the track, but you finally got NASCAR back, and the track comes back to life with anticipation and excitement. So talk a little bit about what it's like to get racing back in the state of Wisconsin, but specifically at the Milwaukee Mile.
Well, Bill, you and I have talked before. You've actually been public address announcer here when I got the chance to work here on behalf of the mile. And right now, Track Enterprises is doing something right. They invested in 2 years of the ARCA Menard Series racing here each year, brought lay bottle racing here on Father's Day weekend with a bunch of grassroots racers from Wisconsin getting the chance. It's been a process to get NASCAR interested in coming back to the Milwaukee Mile. State Fair has done a great job. Millions of dollars of improvements here. New safer wall foam, new paved in areas, new protective, safer barrier walls. There's a lot going on in the positives with what's invested in this. It really comes down to we're ready for it, and NASCAR thinks we're ready for it too. So NASCAR is back for the first time since 2009 at the Milwaukee Mile this Sunday.
Is this a one-off, or is this going to be something where they're kind of looking at it saying, hey, if this really works, we want to do this every year?
So I'm glad you asked that. Track Enterprises is based in Illinois, partnering with Spire Motorsports in Charlotte. They said we need a Milwaukee guy to help facilitate some of this, help us work with our sponsors, help us find cool places to be. We had a day at the state fair this year. And then we had a lot of activation during the fair as well. That kind of touch, like where should we be, is what I've been involved in. And Bill, I can tell you straight to your nose, I have been told, and I believe this is the start of something with this group. This is not if we don't have any, if we did this, we tried it, we're gone. No, I firmly believe this is the start of something. Bob Sargent with Trek Enterprises has invested money in these 6 or 8 or 9 smaller events, if you will. And ARCA Menard Series is coming back on Sunday. The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series is coming back on Sunday. And we want to show the world that are watching on TV, not buying seats, that you can get discounted at Menards, that we are ready for more racing of every level here at the Milwaukee Mile.
And Jim, I equate this to restaurateurs. Restaurateurs love it when more restaurants come into the area because it brings people to the area to discover more and more restaurants. Now, you may not get one crowd that's huge, but you may get a lot of people over an extended period of time that continually want to sample your product. I think the more racing in the state of Wisconsin, whether it's IndyCar at the Mile, whether it's IndyCar at Road America and all the different things that happen there, plus down there at the, I think it's great for the state of Wisconsin. Do you?
Absolutely. And I grew up here, Bill. I love racing. I go around the country announcing auto racing on television, live stream, public address at Daytona for the Daytona 500 since 2004. So I get a chance to see a lot of other tracks, what they do, how they do it. And I feel in to help America. What can I do to help at the Milwaukee Mile? And I feel enthused. And at this point in the weekend, we're looking to see a bunch of fans here to get charged up for this. Yes, you've heard before, this might be the last chance you see a race at the Mile. I don't think that's the case. They're putting millions of dollars in here at State Fair Park, and they've been wonderful to work with. They're doing everything they can. Everybody's busting tail to make this event happen. And tickets are available at Menards, they said, as a discount through Saturday. And you can get tickets to the grandstands. You can buy infield camping. People are moving in tonight to do that this weekend. That's never been done before here at the Mile. So a lot of good, positive, fresh things are coming to this event. But it's not the first and only. It's the first of more to come. It's the start of something.
Jim, why now? What took place to where they said, okay, we'll come back?
I believe a lot of factors. So the regime that was here through 2009, it did not end well financially, but NASCAR did settle. To my knowledge, NASCAR settled. There's no more debt to be paid. But the risk of that, and NASCAR saying, prove to us you have the ability to put a race on at a track that promoters in the past may not have fulfilled every obligation. I'll say it that way. I'm not a lawyer. But in reality, it's taken Bob Sargent, meeting upon meeting, working 4 or 5 or 6 ARCA Menard Series races every year as the promoter at tracks like the Milwaukee Mile. He's actually renting the track to put an ARCA race on to get interest from NASCAR. He's done it at Knoxville Raceway last year with a standalone truck series race. So he's got at every level, he's promoting races in the attempt and hope that tracks he's working with will be attractive enough for NASCAR to come back. National Fairgrounds Speedway in Tennessee, it's a 5/8 mile. There's a lot of interest in that racetrack, getting more NASCAR races. He's involved with that track. He runs that track weekly with the staff out of his offices in Illinois. So there's a lot invested here, but it takes those relationships and time, and Bob's put that work in. So to see that and be part of it and talk to Bob, when I'm at these ARCA races all over the country, we're talking Milwaukee every time we talk. I mean, he's been thinking about this and working toward this for years. So I'm glad to see it's kind of finally coming here. We want to show everybody when they show up here on Sunday, it's going to be fun. It's going to be great. And we want to show people that Milwaukee is the best place for another race next year, or 2 or 3 of any caliber, to get this place rocking again. We had 7 in 1 year back in the 70s. People keep harkening back to the old days. Today's the day, guys. Sunday's our chance, man.
Yeah.
Let's pack the place.
Jim Trado with the Milwaukee Mile and the big race coming here, the Craftsman Truck Series on Sunday, talking a little bit about it. Now, Jim, when you talk about the excitement, and first of all, I didn't know you could camp, which I think is extremely cool if you're going to do that on the infield. So that first and foremost made my eyes kind of perk up a little bit. But secondly, what about around the track? Because we know there's an infrastructure there from the State Fair, and I don't know who is and isn't open, but there's going to be kind of a festival atmosphere around that track as well, inside some of the areas regarding the State Fair Park, right?
Yeah, so if you've been to the State Fair Park at all, you know that the road right behind the main grandstands is called Grandstand Avenue, and the vendors on there are permanent buildings. Some are temporary. We have had to move some displays around to accommodate the vendors on State Fair property that are now opening. They see what's going on. They're asking who's coming. there's a lot of vendors interested in this, and we have more vendors interested, I think, that we can handle, because Grantham Avenue is where we built our fan midway. But the vendors that are opening, there's a vendor inside the Fair Park renting out Slim McGinn's because Major Goolsby's wants to be in the middle of the action, and Slim's got an obligation he can't open. So they're getting involved. Saying, how can I get to be a part of this? So the choices are more stands will be open, more chances for the fans to hang out with their buds. And we have driver appearances on the fan midway. You can go to MilwaukeeMileRacing.com to find our schedule. But I can tell you that there's stuff on Sunday, qualifying at 10:30 for the Truck Series. Those NASCAR drivers are going to spill out into the grandstands. I keep getting people saying, hey, can you get my driver out? We want to do some autographs in the midway. Absolutely. So we're doing that between qualifying at 10:30 and the noon ARCA race. After the noon ARCA race, we got about an hour or so before the NASCAR Truck Series kicks in. And guess what? We got DJ Mondo, the voice of the in-stadium Milwaukee Bucks. He's going to be out here helping us kind of get people enthused as well. So we're adding as much as we can to make this a happening, to hang out with your friends and have a great time.
Jim, before I let you go, I know this is kind of the, hey, I don't want to say an audition because we know racing has been there before and they've been able to do it and do it well. But, at what point do you start to find out about next season? Because I know there's been a lot of speculation about even IndyCar coming back to the mile, and there's been some talks in that area. And then this is obviously an audition with NASCAR to do it again and again. ARCA races are going there. At what point do you start to find out some of these contracts for next season?
That's a great question for Sherry Black and the folks here at State Fair Park. They've been talking. I was enthused when I was here on Sunday morning, June 18th. That was the date of the IndyCar race at Road America into the Milwaukee Mile Media Center on the super late model race that Bob Sargent put on that Father's Day. In walked Roger Penske. Roger owns Indianapolis Motor Speedway. He owns the IndyCar series. Mm-hmm. He was here to check things out to see what improvements have been made. He said, guys, it looks great. There's more to be done. It's nice to see what you guys are doing here. It's very promising that what you guys are putting into this place will bring it back to life. He didn't commit. Well, you and I continue to hear the same thing. I know no more, I swear, than you do on if IndyCar is coming back and when. But the excitement level here on Sunday is going to help us push that meter. It's going to move the needle, guys. We need your help.
Right. Well, if there's anybody that's going to find out first and foremost, it's going to be you, Jim. Jim, thanks for jumping on. Thanks for promoting the mile. It's good to have racing back in the Milwaukee area. Appreciate it as always, pal. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Bill. MilwaukeeMileRacing.com. Appreciate the time.
There you go. MilwaukeeMileRacing.com. It's good to have racing back. And it doesn't matter where it's at. Road America has been staunch. We know that the short tracks all throughout the state are packed on the weekends. We know Slinger, Lacrosse, you can go through the whole listing of raceways in the area, and we've seen it all throughout the state of Wisconsin. But it's good to have some life back at the mile. It's just been such a, it's one of those things when you get people that come to town and you're driving down 94 and you look over and you see that stands and they go, what's that? And you say the Milwaukee Mile. And they go, well, what's that? That's how long it's been for really significant big time racing to come into. Now we know like the ARCA series has come and super lates and stuff like that have ran there, but to get this kind of publicity as far as the national spotlight, getting the Craftsman Truck Series out of NASCAR here, that's great. It's great to see the mile kind of spring back to life and polish itself up a little bit and try to put its best wares on. So hopefully a lot of people get out there and enjoy it. Looking forward to it. 877-867-1670. We'll get back into the other stuff. We'll get back into Packers. We'll get back into a little of the Bucs discussion regarding Giannis as people are beginning to freak out. Steven sent me an email saying this is the beginning of the end of the Milwaukee Bucks. It's not, Steven. Have a little faith. Hang in there. Got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends over there at the Smoke on the Water and Sloppy Joe's. Now, Smoke on the Water, I'm going to stop over there later today. They are donating not only to the Fisher House golf outing and donating some bottles, but Joe has got a big group of riders that are going to meet him at Smoke on the Water next Sunday morning. Not this Sunday, but next Sunday. And then they're all riding down to the motorcycle ride together. And he's bringing a group. And then as a matter of fact, he's got a ride that's kind of the Colorama Fall ride that he does. It's coming up in October. And that benefits that ride. Is the beneficiary of that ride is Fisher House, Wisconsin as well. I'm always proud to very much go on that ride and join them as a part of that. So a lot of motorcycle riding, a lot of good stuff, and a lot of good people with their hearts in the right places. So continue to support Smoke on the Water in Okauchee Lake and Sloppy Joe's Saloon and Spoon out there in Hubertus. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
I'm coming.
Hi, Mark Tauscher.
Boy, you just never know when or where you're going to pop up. This time, it's my house.
Can I come in?
You're already standing in my living room.
Tausch, you have mosquitoes in here.
Oh, yeah. It's like an insect zoo right now at my house. Heads up. Here comes that wasp again. Incoming.
Shoo! You need Palace 250 series of windows with exclusive hidden screens. They fit inside the actual window and protect you from nature.
Okay, now that's just brilliant. Yes, please. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin to the rescue.
You got anything to drink around here?
Yeah, just go right ahead and make yourself at home, I guess.
Ooh, root beer.
Right now at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, bundle and save. Get a 250 series patio door and 8 double hung windows with hidden screens for as low as $188 per month. Visit PellaWI.com today. Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details. Offer ends 8/31/23.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Good to have you. The Bill Michaels Show. We continue on. Thanks to our buddy James Mercado and the gang over there at Veterans America. As they say, own the land you defend. If you're a veteran and you're looking for a home, you're looking for a mortgage, you're looking for a refi, they can help you out. Zero down payment, PMI, looser credit requirements, which are always appreciated. Call them 262-745-3333, 262-745-3333. Again, 262-745-3333. Give them a shout and see if they can help you out. They're great people. And also they're the stage co-sponsor of the motorcycle ride. So there you go. 877-867-1670. If you want to hit us up, 877-867-1670. A couple of things here. This one is from Jack, and Jack says, hey, Bill, did you hear that the wide receiver from Ohio State has broken his wrist? I did not hear that. Grant, did you hear that?
Yeah, he's got a...
Is that Marvin Harrison Jr.?
Oh, no. Jackson Smith and Jigba, the one that Seattle drafted.
Okay.
So he might miss, it sounds like, a month. It's not going to be a season-long thing, but it might keep his debut into week 2, 3, somewhere in there.
Okay. I was going to say, a receiver from Ohio State, the only one that everybody talks about is Harrison Smith or Smith Jr. So, and Jigba, no, I did not hear it. And quite frankly, at this point, doesn't matter. He's not playing for us. Who cares?
We care more about Malik Heath,
right?
Dontavian Wicks, these guys. Samari Toure. I'm a big Toure guy, Bill. I really want him to be good. I like that guy.
I can't imagine him not making this team, but I know there's some people that think that maybe if they only carry 5 or 6, there was a time where I think the Packers carried 7 wide receivers. So it just, you keep your best. And I know that they've got a good amount of offensive linemen. They've got we don't know how good their wide receiving core is. To me, I'd keep more wideouts only for the fact that you don't know how good guys are going to be. So you don't want to get rid of a guy that could emerge as the season goes on that's going to get an opportunity. So you're probably going to keep more receivers unless, of course, you have really high-end quality at one other position and you don't want to lose it by cutting them. But I'd probably keep more wide receivers because you just don't know how good these guys are going to be. By the way, the Oakland A's have indeed submitted their application for relocation to Major League Baseball. That came up today as well. That the MLB 3-man relocation committee, which is also has Mark Antanasio on it, they're going to review the application, make the recommendation to the commissioner and the 8-man executive council. And the ultimate approval requires 3/4 of a vote by the 30 teams, and no vote has been scheduled. But the A's are now full on heading to Vegas. The spokesperson for the Oakland mayor has pushed back on the assertions, saying that the city has raised more than $475 million, and it was just $101 million short of reaching their total goal. In addition, 2 grants totaling $65 million are also due to be paid out in the next month, bringing the city within $36 million of its total share to renovate and or build a new stadium. The A's lease on the Coliseum, their home since 1968, expires after next season, and the Las Vegas Stadium won't open until 2028 at the earliest. So they're not quite sure where the team's going to play in the interim. But the A's, they got the lowest payroll in baseball. They've not signed a prominent free agent during the 18-year tenure of Mr. Fisher, and they are in the midst of one of the worst seasons in big league history. They're 37-91 after they won, 97 games just a couple of years ago. And they tore down a young and promising team, trading all the All-Stars before the start of the 2022 season because they just said they couldn't afford them. So what they've basically done is they've just made this team terrible, got the attendance. It's almost like a scene out of Major League, to where they've got the attendance down, the support down, the anger of the city is upon them, not only because their team sucks, but because now they're threatening to move when they were supporting the hell out of them a couple of years ago. Or at least, I shouldn't say that, at least they were attempting to in that godforsaken stadium. But it's just another team that wants out because they want the perks of of Las Vegas. I don't know that I can blame them, considering Oakland is a pit, for lack of a better term. It's not the greatest place to live, but they do get people that come from across the bay over in San Francisco to come over and watch them. But still, I just part of it is, let's be honest, okay? Part of it is just being and living out there. The cost of living is just ridiculous. And the cost of doing anything out there is ridiculous. And the fact that you're a baseball team and you're really second in your own market compared to the Giants, it's, and the city is not a vibrant city. Oakland is not awesome by any stretch of the imagination. Everybody looks to San Francisco, and San Francisco, hell, people in San Francisco can't even afford to live in San Francisco because the state is so screwed up. So, as much as you hate to see a fan base lose its team, it's like this is just another salvo over the bow of saying we got to get the hell out of California. This is a joke. So the Oakland A's are fast becoming the Las Vegas A's for sure. 877-867-1670, 2 hours down, 2 hours yet to go. As we head into the next hour, we'll get back into some Packers chatter, bubble chatter, guys you think may or may not make this squad and why. We've got Bubble Day, the last hour of the program. Obviously, Mike Clemens is going to be joining us. We'll talk with him about his thoughts on bubble game, we'll call it, coming up against Seattle tomorrow. Brewers back at it tonight. San Diego is in town. The Padres are here. Hopefully the Brewers continue to win games. Brewers on a win streak right now, so that's kind of nice. They've had a couple of them. You just don't want to follow it up with a 3-game losing streak and getting swept like they did against the Dodgers. So hopefully they can continue to win games. Exciting times if you're a Brewers fan. And no, the sky is not falling if you're a Bucks fan. Hang in there, we'll tell you why. Stay tuned. You got a whole lot more. 2 hours yet to go on this Friday edition of the Bill Michaels Show. We'll be back right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Packers going to close out the preseason tomorrow afternoon against Seattle at Lambeau Field. It will be the last opportunity for those trying to secure a roster spot to show the coaching and personnel staff what they can do. Coach Matt LaFleur said the plan is always to put those guys in situations to see if they have what it takes.
We go into it every game with an idea of what we are trying to see, and I think that's why it's so important that in terms of the communication with myself and Goody, making sure everybody's on the same page, making sure that we get the proper evaluation and put guys in a position where we get questions answered, quite frankly.
Packers will play their starters for at least a little bit, including quarterback Jordan Love. One guy that definitely won't play, outside linebacker Rashawn Gary. He was just cleared for team drills this week. His status for the opener against Chicago on September 10th still up in the air. Kick tomorrow is set for noon. Turning to Wisconsin, they're now just 8 days out from their season opener. Going to get things going next Saturday against Buffalo at Camp Randall Stadium. Going to serve as the official debut for new coach Luke Fickell and his staff. Kick there at 2:30.
Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
You may know Rural Mutual Insurance as the #1 farm insurer. But did you know they also offer competitive home, auto, business, and life insurance? They make it convenient to bundle your insurance while saving you time and money. Visit ruralmutual.com to learn more.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Well, after a day off, Brewers going to be back in action tonight against San Diego. They enter the night with a 3-game lead on Chicago, 4-game lead on Cincinnati for first in the NL Central. Milwaukee's won 5 straight, season best 13 games above 500. First pitch is slated for 7:10. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil, print.
Good to have you on board. Bill Michaels Show. Hopefully your Friday's been good to you so far. We got all kinds of stuff to get to. We've got Bubble Day today for the Green Bay Packers, our bubble discussion. We have got to some Brewers conversation. You have got Stephen had sent us an email earlier that said this is the beginning of the end of the Milwaukee Bucks because Giannis will not sign the contract extension. Stephen, I'll get into that coming up here in a minute. Pac fan wants to know thoughts on the White Sox moving to Nashville. Do you believe it's a possibility? I think every team has the ability to threaten. And ultimately, a lot of this stuff gets worked out. The White Sox have been in Chicago for so long. I can't imagine them leaving. I can't. What I guess, what would it say about the city of Chicago to have the Bears move out of Chicago and the White Sox leave the state? Think about it. I mean, Chicago is, for some of the things that they have, it can be a really cool city. It can. But for the most part, it has been run into the ground. It has been pillaged and just destroyed through greed and theft. And there's not many nice things I can say about Chicago. There's certain things I love to do. I really do. I love going down to Chicago to the House of Blues. I love some of the restaurants down there. Shopping, since they have rioted there numerous times now and basically burned down the mile, stores have left in droves. It's kind of a shell of what it used to be. And the fact that you walk up and down the street and you almost get a contact buzz because the stench of pot roaring through the canyons is palpable. But I can't imagine that the White Sox leave town. Part of it was the timing of that stadium. That was one of the stadiums that got built. I don't know if that was built. Grant, can you remember, was the new, whatever the hell they call it now, whatever kind of craptastic name that thing has, did they build that before or after the Jake in Cleveland? Do you know?
Oh, I don't know. I know it was Comiskey, right? And now it's U.S. Cellular Field or something. It's not Comiskey anymore.
It's something Rate Field. Like
guaranteed rate field.
Field. Yep. Yeah.
You remember.
Because they changed it and there's not a lot of dynamicness to it. It's one of those stadiums that was built as the tweeners. And by that, I mean, it was new, but it didn't have all the amenities that stadiums today have. But yet it was newer than Old Comiskey because Old Comiskey was turning into a dump. And like when they built the Jake, which is now Progressive Field in Cleveland, and Camden Yards, which has always been Camden Yards, and those new style stadiums, the more intimate stadiums, more luxury suites, taking care of fans in a better way. It was kind of an in-between. So it didn't get all those nice amenities. And in the same way they redid the restructure of Soldier Field, it's a toilet. It's just a garbage stadium. And it doesn't generate them enough money. And also it's not in the best area of town. So no wonder they want to move. I mean, but then again, you're not going to put the South Siders on the North Side. So where are you going to move them to? I can't see the White Sox leaving Chicago though. They've been a staple, and then to go to Nashville, Nashville wants a team. Nashville, I mean, down in Nashville, I don't know if you've ever been to a Nashville Sounds game. They come out. Talk about a city that supports its team. They support their team big time. Comiskey opened in 1991.
The Jake was in 94. So just a couple years later. So Chicago beat him by a couple years.
Right. So it was that tweener stadium. And 91, what is it now? 30 plus years old? 32, 33 years old? Usually you go 50 years. The demand now for new stadiums is kind of ridiculous. I mean, what the Atlanta Braves did was crazy. They built the new Fulton County in Atlanta. And then after only, a decade or so, a little bit more than that, it was like, we got to get a new stadium. And then they built one way outside of Atlanta where the new stadium is. Because again, the city is such a pit, I can't imagine though, the White Sox leaving. I just can't. How would you like to be the mayor of that city and to see the White Sox leave? Nobody wants that. And look, I'm not a White Sox fan and I'm not a Chicago fan, but you can't lose. You can't lose a staple like that. You just can't. Jason says Mark Antanasio should come out of hiding and face the fans. I try to be objective, and if the Stearns deal isn't enough, he goes into hiding. Where's the camera of him sitting amongst the crowd? Yeah, we haven't seen that in a long time, have we? We haven't seen Mark Antanasio sitting out with the fans in a long time.
We're getting plenty of Tom Flanagan in the booth. He's all over the place this season. I feel like every other week he's up there with Levering and Rock, but I haven't seen Antanasio as much.
What is Brian Anderson doing right now? Is he doing something else too?
I don't know. Enjoying some time off probably this summer. That's what I'd be doing if I were him.
I guess. Well, he does NBA. He does March Madness. And he does some of the Fox Game of the Week, I guess. He does the NCAA tournament. But I thought his main gig was Brewers. And by the way, Cheddarball says Mark Antanasio was with the fans on Wednesday against the Twins. Had plenty of shots of him during the game. I didn't see that on Wednesday. Didn't get a chance to see that. There you go. Then Chris says, I think it's time that Mark Antanasio actually does a press conference and answers some tough questions. Will other reporters, other than the normal pack of softball reporters, be asking questions about the stadium issue? It just depends on who's there. It depends on, how quickly they call a presser. Sometimes Mark will talk to the media impromptu. And you're going to get the normal baseball reporters that are there. Then there's other times that you say, hey, Mark Antanasio is going to speak to the media on such and such a date. And then you have a plethora of reporters outside of the realm of sports who cover the team on the daily. And I don't know what else to ask Mark. What needs to be asked? And I'm not defending anything. I'm just like, what else needs to be asked? There's certain things they need to do. Some things they need to fix inside the stadium. And I understand that. In the realm of spending money regarding baseball, what's he supposed to do? Look at you and go, we're in first place. Some of the guys haven't hit the way we thought they would, but we're in first place. If the guys that we have on this team just hit to the back of their baseball card with the pitching we have, we'd be running away with the division. We'd be one of the better teams in baseball. So I don't know what you want Mark to answer. But there's this vitriol right now for Mark Antanasio. And I don't, at times I understand, the whole throwing David Stearns under the bus last year saying we were in the Juan Soto thing. It's like, no, you weren't. But, why'd you get rid of Hunter Renfroe? Why would you do that? And then go all young? Why? Some of the deals I get, but, there's some deals that you can scratch your head over, but you can say that about every team. I think overall Mark's been a good owner. The first time I ever really questioned him was last year during the Hader deal. And if we've learned anything through the F up of what's happened with the whole Bud Light fiasco, come out and own it. Don't deflect it, because it was like doubling down and getting it worse, making it worse. So to me, if I'm Mark, I come out and say, you know what? We screwed that up. Just really underestimated the power of what Josh brought to the team and blah, blah, blah. And we were wrong. We're always trying to get better. We try to get in on conversations. We're really working hard to try to get that guy. We've got some things up our sleeve that we hope happen in the offseason. Okay. I can live with all of that. I'm not sitting here just spewing all the anger towards Mark Antanasio. 877-867-1670. Going back to Steven's question, saying that this is the beginning of the end of the Milwaukee Bucks. Steven, no, it's not. You're somebody who's looking for gloom and doom. What Giannis didn't say he wasn't signing with the Bucks. What Giannis says was, I'm not signing a long-term contract until I make sure that this team is committed to winning and striving for a championship. I'm good with that. And here's the reason why. Because if Giannis leaves, it tells you they're not committed. That's your indicator to say ownership of that team is not committed to winning. And it kind of gives me an indication as to where I should spend my money. Giannis wants to stay here and wants to win, period. Now, commitment to winning, usually commitment, respect, all of those things equal money. All those words just basically equal money. And maybe he's mad about Coach Budenholzer getting fired. Or maybe, the Bucks didn't hire the guy that he wanted them to hire. Or maybe he's mad that they waited too long to fire Coach Bud and he wanted to keep Darvin Ham. I don't know. I don't know what the inner workings are behind the scenes. But I think it's something that I said a long time ago when he walked into the restaurant and said to John Horst and the management staff that was sitting there dining, and he said, right in front of God and everybody, you put the guys around me and I will win you a championship. That is my commitment. He's always meant it. There's nothing new here. There's nothing off the charts that he's saying or doing. So is it the beginning of the end? No. The only way it's the end is if Giannis leaves. But Giannis will leave if the indication is there that they're not going all in. But I will say in the NBA, it's tough to go all in. Guys aren't reaching free agency anymore. And Giannis can say, I want this guy and I want that guy. But you got to have two to tango, and you got to have somebody willing to make the deal for what it is you're willing to give up.
Well, that's the thing, Bill, is Chris is getting old. Brooke is getting old. Drew's getting old and said that he might retire at the end of this contract. So there might be a situation where Giannis and the Bucks sit down and the Bucks look at Giannis and say, look, this is what we want to do. It might not fit your timeline, but Giannis, we don't have any other choice. We've traded all our picks. Nobody's available to sign as a free agent. It might just come to a point where the Bucks can't do anything for Giannis anymore,
right,
no matter how bad they want to.
Right. And then Giannis hits free agency and the bidding wars begin, and the Bucks kind of start all over. But with this window that they've had with being the best team in the league and being able to get a lot of regular season wins, and they did get a championship since 1971. They got a championship. He accomplished exactly what he said he would do. So I'm not upset with this at all. And the way free agency is going right now in the NBA with players basically signing and then demanding trade, and that's a whole issue in and of itself. But this creation of the super teams and who wants to dictate who can go where, and and it started really with LeBron. When LeBron was taking his talents to South Beach, and all that garbage. And that's when it started. Because it used to be just build a team, try to develop your guys, pick up a piece or two here or there with a trade, and then you worked with it and you tried to move on. And now it's all about creating the super teams. Who can go where? Who's going to demand a trade here or there? How's that all going to work out? And I think now we're seeing the pendulum swing back the other way against all of this. And I'm for it. I really am. But I want to see the team commit to Giannis, because as long as you have Giannis, you've got a shot at the postseason. But then again, you also have the Lakers are going to be getting old, and that's going to go away. Eventually, in the next 3 to 5 years, Golden State's going to go away. God knows that the Phoenix Suns, they're old. You got young guys, young talent in the league now, and we've seen it with Denver and company. You've got some younger teams that are on the rise. So it's not, the Lakers are as old gets. And the Bucks very quickly became old before our very eyes. So, and the other aspect of that is, oh, by the way, Giannis, get better. Free throw shooting and outside shooting has been a nemesis. And we know that. And you can't put all that on Giannis. I get that. What you want to say is you got to get guys around him that are going to be better. But when you have to have the ball in his hands all the time, too, that can be detrimental. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Got a thought? Give it to us. We got a lot more to get to. Don't forget, coming up about an hour from now, Mike Clemens going to join us. Bubble Day. Bubble discussion in Green Bay as we talk about who may or may not be with this team. May or may not be with this team. So let's do this. Stick around. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
I'm coming.
Hi, Mark Tauscher.
Boy, you just never know when or where you're going to pop up. This time, it's my house.
Can I come in?
You're already standing in my living room.
Tausch, you have mosquitoes in here.
Oh, yeah. It's like an insect zoo right now at my house. Heads up. Here comes that wasp again. Incoming.
Shoo! You need Palla's 250 series of windows with exclusive hidden screens. They fit inside the actual window and protect you from nature.
Okay, now that's just brilliant. Yes, please. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin to the rescue.
You got anything to drink around here?
Yeah, just go right ahead and make yourself at home, I guess.
Ooh, root beer.
Right now at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, bundle and save. Get a 250 series patio door and 8 double hung windows with hidden screens for as low as $188 per month. Visit PellaWI.com today. Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details. Offer ends 8/31/23.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Good to have you back. Bill Michaels Show. Getting it going on a Friday. Enjoying the day. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at the ICHC, the Irish Cultural Heritage Center. A lot of great concerts coming to town over the holiday season. So if you're going to start thinking about maybe making some holiday plans, and I hate to say that because I know it's still a few months away, but they've got a lot of things that they booked already. So go to ICHC.net. That's ICHC.net. You can follow the Irish Cultural Heritage Center over on Facebook as well. But give Corey a call, 414-345-8800, 414-345-8800. And boy, I know Cynthia is coming to town too during St. Patrick's Day and coming up in March. And I've already got a group of people that are going to go to that. That's going to be fantastic. So I'm really, really looking forward to that performance. And it's just such a cool place, an old eclectic church that's been converted into this big hall. And whether it's for weddings or concerts or meeting space, they've got something for everybody. Go to ICHC.net. This is from Nancy. Nancy says, as a longtime season ticket holder for the Milwaukee Bucks, I would hate to see Giannis leave. That would pretty much signify that the beginning of the end and maybe even a new ownership change. What are your thoughts? I don't know. You get the feeling, and I said this a while ago when Lazary and Edens and everybody bought into this team. They didn't buy a team. They bought a city. When you look at the investments in downtown, the investments in the properties, the hotel that's gone up next door now, the different areas downtown that have been basically built around that Deer District. I get the sense that they invested in all of this. Eventually, you want to get your money out of your investment. They bought a city. Now, that doesn't mean that they want to sell, because I know they want to win more. But I don't know. I don't know. I mean, Lazary's already sold. He's out. And him and his family, he didn't win the Democratic nod. So they sold their share and bolted. And I know, the condos and such down on the river have been sold. So they're out. They don't have housing here, from what I understand, anymore. I don't know if Wes Edens would do that as well and turn it on the whole. God, I would pray to God that they would never turn the reins over to Hazlitt. But you got me on that one. I wish I knew. I wish I had better insight. I don't think so. I don't think they're here to sell. But you don't get your investment out of it. You don't put money in the bank unless you do sell. I mean, certainly the Bucks have grown in value with the Fiserv Forum, the Deer District, and everything around it. And the franchise alone, I mean, just the buildings alone that they have, they've grown that value for the franchise exponentially since they took it over from the Senators. So a lot of money is there to be made and to walk away with. And you talk about guys that made their money investing in certain things. That's a great question. I don't know. I don't know if they would sell it. Not as long as Giannis is there, and not as long as there's success. The NBA is a very fickle thing right now in the ability to, here we go. I'm looking at the headline right now over on the 4-letter network is the freak, meaning the Greek Freak show, over in Milwaukee. So already nationally, they're grabbing onto this. I think it's let me say this. You're not hearing anything now that you didn't hear a while ago before Giannis signed the Supermax. I have a feeling this is a lot of talk about nothing. And this is Giannis basically saying, I do not want to become irrelevant. I don't want to be the best player on a bad team. I want to be the best player I want to be the best player on a championship team. That's it. And going back to the selling of the team, the only reason it would make a difference is if somebody was buying it to buy it for an investment rather than buy it to win. I mean, everybody wants to win. You want to win. It grows your value. It doesn't really matter who owns the team as long as management's committed to winning. And every group of managers that come in, every group of owners that come in, they're all committed to winning. Mark Attanasio was committed to winning. The Senator was committed to winning. Bud Selig was committed to winning. Everybody's committed to winning. But you and I both look at commitment levels as money. What is your level of commitment? How deep are you willing to go into your own pockets? So I don't know. And
people who own sports franchises tend not to sell them. It happens here and there, but we hear, I think, Bill, way more often people are forced to sell for this reason or that reason. People normally don't give up a sports team. If you can own a sports team, you typically hang on to it.
Yeah. And that, which was why, I think it just with the I don't want to say infighting because I don't know all the depths of the discussions, but it's just like Lasry just wanted out. It seemed like it was almost simultaneous with losing the election to getting out, which maybe was indicative to me as to what I thought about all along. I thought they're just buying a city and they're trying to, work themselves governmentally through certain things that are going to benefit them. And that's kind of what it was. You could kind of see it.
Yeah.
When you fly in for games and your planes and your kids are all back and forth and, you're only flying here to be seen and then you fly out and, that's, owners. I mean, I know owners live in other areas of the country. I get it. But, when you don't have that heartfelt investment, when it's more just pocketbook investment, it tends to show.
Bill, I'll be honest with you up front. I only took the job to be on the show with you because I'm going to parlay this into a run for Senate. So if I don't get elected, you're going to have to find another producer. So if you like me on the show, I can count on your vote, I assume, here in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I'll vote for you. I think we're pretty much on the same page. So I'll vote.
I got one.
Jason says the ownership of the Bucks have fought from day one. Remember the hiring of Horst. Yeah, but again, everybody has opinions and difference of opinions and such, but it doesn't mean they disliked one another. I mean, God, they went in on a $1 billion effort together. So there has to be some sort of trust and the ability to get along there, Let's do this. Well, we're late for break. Bottom of the hour, and we'll get back into the Packers talk coming up. But again, going back to Steven's email from earlier, I don't think it's the beginning of the end. I think it's just merely Giannis saying, hey, I want to be competitive. And that's something that he said all along. There's nothing new here, nothing to see here. It is what it is. More of the Bill Michaels Show. It's all coming up right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Summer's winding down, but there's still time to experience the roar and excitement of racing. Road America is running, and you don't want to miss out on this last chance to feel the rumble. Campsites are available, and public karting is open. There's something for everyone at Road America. For tickets and all the family fun information, go to roadamerica.com. That's roadamerica.com. Road America, America's National Park of Speed.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program, The Bill Michaels Show. Hopefully you're enjoying a good Friday. I just sat and watched during the break the rant of one young Stephen A. Smith praying that they get Giannis to go to New York, which would kill me if another superstar out of the state of Wisconsin goes to New York, but because they deserve it. And here's the thing. The Knicks had a lot of success going back to the Patrick Ewing days and company. And the Bucks have been deserving of success for a long time now. So this whole thing about other entities, specifically New York, deserving a superstar, it's like, that's a giant bite me. just so you say, not happening. I would never, ever want to see that. Never want to see that. 877-867-1670. The thought on Bubble Day, which is what today is, we're kind of calling Bubble Day as we get into the discussion coming up here in about a half an hour, 45 minutes from now, regarding the Packers, the roster, because we are less than a week away from roster cutdowns and the Green Bay Packers and the rest of the NFL needing to trim the fat, so to speak, as to who may or may not be a part of this squad. This is from Jordan. Jordan says, do you think Emmanuel Wilson needs a big game again to prove his wares to knock Patrick Taylor out of the third running back spot? Yeah. I mean, look, everybody does. Anybody that's not named A.J. Dillon, and Aaron Jones needs to show something. I mean, because they may have a flip of the coin at this point where Patrick Taylor is kind of the front runner, but say Patrick Taylor goes out and fumbles twice, and then you've got Tyler Goodson or Emmanuel Wilson or Lou Nichols or somebody just really takes a hold of it and goes, catches a couple of passes, breaks a couple of tackles, and off they go. And who knows? But I think they know what they have in Patrick Taylor. I think they know what they have in Tyler Goodson. They're just kind of waiting to see if that emerges. This is from Davey. Davey says, hey, unit, they've got a real decision to make at the wide receiver position. They've got so many decent guys and yet not enough space to go around. Can they squeeze some of these guys to the practice squad without getting picked up? I'm sure they can. I don't know. When you got a 5th-round draft choice in Dontavian Wicks, if you would cut him loose, Grant DeBose, maybe you could let go and he could swing to the practice squad only for the fact that he missed a portion of training camp because of the back issues. Malik Heath, because he was an undrafted college free agent, maybe you could squeeze him. But I don't know if you cut Wicks or Melton, or you're not squeezing those guys anywhere. I think they would get picked up before it's all said and done. Just my opinion. Let's go to Dean listening to us in La Crosse. Dean, how you doing today, man? What's going on?
Morning. How's it going?
Doing well so far, Dean. What's on your mind, man?
Hey, so I wanted to just talk about the trades that could have happened that didn't. There was a story on Wednesday that Pete Alonso was almost a Brewer, and I'm not sure who didn't pull the trigger on that, but he was saying he's glad to be a Met, etc., despite what Scherzer said about their future. But I called the morning show guys, Ebo, and I screwed around with, well, what would the haul have been if the Brewers had pulled off an Ohtani trade? And, I basically said we've got top 3 prospect in all of baseball in Jackson Chourio, who I lovingly called Chorizo, but really great player. We probably would have had to give him up to get Ohtani. And the trade that wasn't, I kind of made fun of the Angels for not trading him. Just like the Cubs didn't trade Wilson Contreras last year. And turns out that Ohtani ended up getting hurt.
Right.
So I don't know. I think from the perspective of the Brewers, they still aren't getting the productivity from first base they would have liked and could have gotten with Alonso. But in terms of Ohtani, dodge that one.
Yeah.
But at the time, I was thinking that made no sense for either side for the Angels to hold on to him for sure. But then, I don't know, Brewers, I wish they'd make a push, get somebody. So
no, I agree. I appreciate the phone call. When you look at what the Brewers are doing over at first base, and Carlos Santana, his average is low to say the very least. He's had a few hits here as of late, but it hasn't been something where like I said earlier, if you're Mark Antanasio and you have to sit there and take the heat, say from fans who say, why didn't you spend the money? You can say, well, let's see here. We've got Joey Weimer hitting 212. We have got right now Rowdy Tellez hitting 210. You've got Jesse Winker, who we picked up, hitting 199. You've got Carlos Santana hitting 198. If any of these guys started to hit to what the normal back of their baseball card would be, we'd be a lot better off. Mark Canha hitting 226. Luke Voigt, who they picked up, hitting a massive 221. Anyone, Luis Urias was here and he hit 145. So Willie Adames at least has his average up to 214, but he has struggled all season long. He can't get back to the back of his baseball card, So when you look at all these numbers, you're like, look, we thought we put a pretty good team together. And once we did, it's up to the guys on the field to get the job done. They can say the exact same thing in New York with the Mets. We put a really good team together. On paper, we had it all. We were on our way to a World Series. But when the guys go out and can't execute and things just go spiraling bad, they're just bad. So I can't blame. I mean, you would always love to see the Brewers actually pull the trigger. I'm kind of tired. Like the Alonso deal. Oh my God, the Brewers were close. Who cares? It's just another name in a litany of names where they've been close. They've been close and they didn't pull the trigger. Okay. Just another name on a wall of Hall of Famers or guys that could bolster this team that they never got. It's always the same old blank. Oh my God, they were in on this. What does that do for you? Does it get you all amped up? Are your pants fitting tighter now? Who cares? They didn't get them. They didn't do it. Didn't pull the trigger. You can look at it as, they were talking. That's great. Way to go, Matt Arnold. It's just another guy they didn't get. I don't care. And I said that at the beginning. I said, I don't want to hear about some deal that they were close on that never transpired. Never happened. Why? Because they weren't going to pull the trigger. You're never going to get something for nothing. You're never going to get a real bona fide filler, a guy where you're just going to say, oh, God, we got to get this guy. Oh, this is awesome. This is awesome. Oh, let's be honest. Pete Alonso, what is he hitting this year? I think I saw his numbers. He was hitting like 225. It's not like, would he fill the bill? Yeah, no doubt. Now, don't get me wrong. He doesn't have the average numbers, but his power numbers are there because he's approaching 40 home runs. So, if you'd rather have Pete Alonso or Rowdy Tellez, Rowdy Tellez, you're out the door. Rowdy Tellez, by the way, yesterday was doing an autograph signing at Waukesha Sports Cards out here because I was wondering why the line was so big out in front of near Kohl's yesterday. And it was because Rowdy Tellez and a couple other guys were out there signing autographs. But that's neither here nor there. But the power numbers, at least the power numbers under Pete Alonso would be there. The run production would be there. I think he's the last I checked, and I don't know, Grant, correct me if I'm wrong, Pete Alonso, he had 90 RBIs on the season already?
He's been very productive, I know. I can go check, but I don't know if the home run totals have been there, but production, especially to position the Brewers need. Yeah, and let's be real, Bill, just an average first baseman would have been an upgrade over Rowdy Tellez and Owen Miller, which is who they were playing.
Right. And when you look at Alonso, I remember when I read the story and I thought, okay, boy, would have been great. And I looked at his batting average was in the 220s. And I'm like, but then I looked at his OPS and his power numbers. I'm like, wow, okay. You can, if you're going to approach 40 home runs in a season and 100 RBI, yeah, you can put up with a low batting average. But when you've got a guy like Rowdy who's not giving you the power numbers, Jesse Winkers who's not giving you the power numbers, and a low batting average and a low on-base percentage, not driving in runs, then it becomes just a sinkhole. But at least Alonso would have been an upgrade in that sense. Absolutely. But it's, again, like I said, it just doesn't matter to me because it's just another name in a litany of names that the Brewers were in on that they ultimately didn't get. We hear
39 homers, 95 RBIs. That's what they
39 and 95. Okay, so I wasn't that far off. 39 and 95. There you go. 39 home runs and probably going to bust 40. Whew. You would have loved it. You'd love to have that sitting in the middle of your lineup. Can you imagine how good suddenly Adames could become, maybe with a guy like that hitting behind him, or at least the front end of your lineup when you're putting Yelich and company on base? How much things would have been, how good they could have been. So 877-867-1670. But ultimately, hey, by the way, we were going to get a sponsor. We were going to get, people from Dubai, and it was going to be incredible. And they were going to put $14 billion into the program and buy us a golden studio. We were this close. It didn't happen. Same thing. Pipe dream. Who cares? Big, giant, steaming pant load of nothing. Of nothing. Doesn't matter. 877-866. In Wisconsin, we're used to it. Let's wait until the rumors come out. Who are you in on? Oh, boy. Ooh, dare to dream. It would have been great to get that. Oh, but ultimately you don't. There you have it. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
I'm coming.
Hi, Mark Tauscher.
Boy, you just never know when or where you're going to pop up. This time, it's my house.
Can I come in?
You're already standing in my living room.
Tausch, you have mosquitoes in here.
Oh, yeah. It's like an insect zoo right now at my house. Heads up. Here comes that wasp again. Incoming.
Shoo! You need Palla's 250 series of windows with exclusive hidden screens. They fit inside the actual window and protect you from nature.
Okay, now that's just brilliant. Yes, please. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin to the rescue.
You got anything to drink around here?
Yeah, just go right ahead and make yourself at home, I guess.
Ooh, root beer.
Right now at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, bundle and save. Get a 250 series patio door and 8 double-hung windows with hidden screens for as low as $188 per month. Visit PellaWI.com today. Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details. Offer ends 8/31/23.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Good to have you. Hey, this portion of the program brought to you by Every Plumbing and Heating, and many of you, I'm sure, were calling Craig Every over the last few days as the heat was cranked up all over. the state of Wisconsin. They're serving La Crosse and Trempealeau, Jackson, Monroe, Vernon counties. And they do, if you're looking for water heater help, they can help you. If you're looking for, heat that gets run through your floor, if you're doing a reconstruction or a new construction, they can help you out with that. Looking for plumbers and contractors and such in that area. They do air conditioning as well. So many different things that they can facilitate. That's Every Plumbing and Heating, located in Onalaska, Wisconsin. 608-783-2803, 608-783-2803. Get a hold of them. This was from Mark, who said, how come you keep talking about Emmanuel Wilson? Well, Emmanuel Wilson's he's had some good games. He had the 80-yard scamper against Cincinnati. And even if you take away the 80-yard scamper, he's still averaging over 4.5 yards a carry total for the first couple of games of the preseason. Picked up a couple of blitzes that were not really heavy blitzes, but picked up a couple of blocks that were nice, and is averaging over 4 yards a carry. Had the one scamper for the touchdown, like I had mentioned, but he's played pretty well. That's the reason, when you get an opportunity. And again, you say, okay, take away the 80-yard run, but also you can't. The guy got an 80-yard run. He got a burst of daylight, got through the hole, did everything after that. His wheels got him to the end zone. So it's kind of like, somebody does something extremely well, and all people want to do is, well, you did it once, so that's it. Okay, but the guy did it to begin with. You don't take it away from people. But like I said, even if you do take that away, he's still averaging over 4.5 yards a carry. I'm good with that. And that's the reason. It just probably opens up some eyes. Nothing more. Judge Miles Burner says Rosenthal said that the Mets were asking for the prospects 2 through 5 from the Brewers. I'm glad they didn't pull the trigger. When I talk about prospects, I say two things to myself. Matt Laporta. Brewers didn't want to give him up. Boy, it took everything they had to pry Matt Laporta out of their palms when, CeCe Sabathia was sitting right there. I don't know if they should do this. Matt Laporta is going to be a first baseman in this league for a long time with power. He's going to be a prototypical corner player. Oh, my God, Matt Laporta. We can't give him up. Can't give up Matt Laporta. Oh, okay, look. We'll give you Matt Laporta. Give us CeCe Sabathia, and we'll – okay. Oh, God, we lost Matt Laporta. Holy crap. Hello? Hello? Yeah, you're right, Brian. Lewis Brinson? Hello? Come on. Prospects are prospects until the word prospect is no longer behind their name. And prospects are prospects until they either pan out or they're busts. And more often than not, they become busts. You have to build your team through the minors. I understand that. Okay. But when you have the ability to get bona fide players in a position that you have basically been a sinkhole for years, like I said, just another name that they didn't get. Just another one. Right. Brian said the same thing. Matt Laporta. There you go. Yep. 877-867-1670. Next hour, Mike Clemens going to join us. We'll talk about some guys that are on the bubble with the Green Bay Packers. And Mike will have everything from inside the Packers locker room and what's going on over there this week. This being a day in which the Packers kind of do their walkthrough, get ready for the game. Because this is like they're treating it like a regular week. So you had, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Those are your practice days like you would on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Saturday is your off day, your walkthrough day. You go in, you look at film, you get ready for the game, you look at the game plan. And then, tomorrow, Saturday, being like a noon kickoff on a Sunday. And that's what Matt LaFleur wanted to get this team ready for and get them kind of into that game day practice thing, that mode, if you will. And then obviously they get a week off. And I'm not saying a week off to go away and do whatever the hell they want, but they've got a film study coming up Sunday. Monday, you start to look into a few things. Tuesday, guys find out if they're still on the squad. And then, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you're probably going to have some things going on before you take the weekend off. You're back at it. And then it gets real. Then you get ready for Chicago. Chicago's next up on the docket. So hoping for a good performance tomorrow. Well, it looks like the weather at Lambeau is going to be awesome. It's like 75 and sunny tomorrow. Looks like it's going to be perfect. So it should be awesome for a game. So that's what's coming up in the next hour. I can't emphasize it enough. Please help us out. If you are a motorcyclist, and if you are, great. If you are not, please send it along to somebody who is. It's the 16th annual poker run benefiting Fisher House, Wisconsin. And it takes place Sunday, September 3rd. We are creeping up 9 days away. 9 days. And if you want to get registered, the weather looks great. The forecast has already been good. But if you want to get registered for it, scan the QR code or just simply go to facebook.com/Big Unit Poker Run and get registered. Because if you're going to go pre-register, at least then you qualify for the big 3 prizes we're giving away in the raffle for those who pre-registered. You might as well get in on that as well, right? You're going to be there anyway, so why not? And bring friends. We always say bring friends. Every year it grows. It's going to be like a family reunion, and only this year it's going to get bigger, hopefully. But again, facebook.com/Big Unit Poker Run. We start out at the Harley-Davidson Museum in downtown Milwaukee, and we're going to have a great time. Hey, another hour of the Bill Michaels Show yet to go right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Packers going to close out the preseason tomorrow afternoon against Seattle at Lambeau Field. It will be the last opportunity for those trying to secure a roster spot to show the coaching and personnel staff what they can do. Coach Matt LaFleur said the plan is always to put those guys in situations to see if they have what it takes.
We go into it every game with an idea of what we are trying to see, and I think that's why it's so important that in terms of the communication with myself and Goody, making sure everybody's on the same page, making sure that we get the proper evaluation and put guys in a position where we get questions answered, quite frankly.
Packers will play their starters for at least a little bit, including quarterback Jordan Love. One guy that definitely won't play, outside linebacker Rashawn Gary. He was just cleared for team drills this week. His status for the opener against Chicago on September 10th still up in the air. Kick tomorrow is set for noon. Turning to Wisconsin, they're now just 8 days out from their season opener. Going to get things going next Saturday against Buffalo at Camp Randall Stadium. Going to serve as the official debut for new coach Luke Fickell and his staff. Kick there at 2:30.
Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
If you're interested in a rewarding career with a strong Wisconsin company, Rural Mutual Insurance is looking to add to their growing team of successful employees and agents. Apply online today at ruralmutual.com/careers.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Well, after day off, Brewers going to be back in action tonight against San Diego. They enter the night with a 3-game lead on Chicago, 4-game lead on Cincinnati for first in the NL Central. Milwaukee's won 5 straight, season best 13 games above 500. First pitch is slated for 7:10. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil, print.
Welcome back. Good to have you. Bill Michaels Show. Enjoying a Friday, final hour of the week for us. And got Mike Clemens coming up here in about 10, 15 minutes, so stay tuned for that. Monday off, I'm going to be at the Fisher House, Wisconsin golf outing and down in Geneva National. Looking forward to that. I was just asked, Steven said, hey, Unit, do you have any tickets left for the lacrosse cigar dinner coming up Tuesday? Steven, I don't know. I don't think so, but it's worth a shot. Whether you go to Tobacco Outlet Plus Grocery or quickspirits.com, you can see if there's any tickets available. I doubt it. I have not checked, to be honest with you. But, so Monday I am in Geneva National. Tuesday morning back in studio. And then the minute I get off the air, I'm heading to La Crosse. I'm going to be there in Celebrations for a cigar dinner coming up on Tuesday night. Back into Milwaukee on Tuesday night. Got to drive out and back because Wednesday morning we've got meetings as we are in our final push for the Fisher House poker run coming up, the motorcycle ride coming up. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday of next week is just I'm checking out. So if you try to get a hold of me or you need something, man, you better know my phone number to text me, and that's going to be about it because everything else is going to be, just completely all out, getting ready for the motorcycle ride and accommodating people coming into town and such. So, and then after that, you got Labor Day weekend. We can breathe a little bit, and then once we get past Labor Day, it's getting into we start getting into the regular season. I think I'll be in Wausau. It's either Tuesday or Wednesday that following week because we've got a golf outing and cigar dinner there. And then the following week we'll be in Kenosha at Cortez's for our last cigar dinner of the season. And then after that, heading up to Tomahawk, Wisconsin for the Tomahawk Fall Ride. And doing some things, be off on a few days up there leading into the weekend. So we'll be in Chicago too. Don't forget, we're going to be in Chicago for the Packers and the Bears opener. We'll have the post-game show live from the Shy Bar, the Sheridan Grand Riverwalk Hotel. And if you're a fan and you're going down and you haven't made a reservation yet, that's a great place to go. And we're going to be there doing the post-game show. So come on by. And who knows? I mean, myself and Mike Clemens, we're going to be hanging out down there anyway the night before. So we can all kind of get together and as Packers fans take over the hotel, take over that area. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of Chicago, but going down there I am to do that. So always good, but got a lot of stuff coming up. And then once we get past really the second weekend of September, we get into our huddles. We have our huddles going on, but we can breathe a little bit. Grant, do you have anything coming up?
Well, no, I don't have much coming up. I was just thinking of what it would be like to stay in a hotel with Mike Clemens. And I just pictured going to the Continental Breakfast in the morning. Mike's there. He's been there for 2 hours, and he has been sitting down and talking with everyone and asking them their thoughts about how this Malik Heath, anything jumping out to you? You watching these preseason games? Well, what do you see when you watch Jordan Love? It's like, Mike, did you even sleep last night? Did you go to the pool and ask people their opinions on the Packers? Like, that man's always working.
Yeah. It's for those that don't know, Mike is a nocturnal creature. He will sleep in the day, does a few things, and then all of a sudden in the middle of the night, you'll hear your phone go bing, bing, bing. And I look and it's 2:30 in the morning and there's Mike emailing, game plan for the Packers as to who discussed what, when, and where. And he's got cuts and sound.
Grant DeBose audio at 3:45 in the morning.
Got a hold of Grant DeBose's dad somewhere who works in a sewer or something. He's in, whatever. I mean, just, he's always working, man. And hanging out with Mike is, it's like hanging out with an iceberg. It is slow and methodical, but it always gets from point A to point B. And you just kind of take that as it is. Mike is in his zone, man. And it's fun. I'll tell you what, when we get a chance to get away and we do get a chance to kind of just talk and sit down. Have you ever gone anywhere with Mike, Grant?
I've never met Mike in person. I've talked to him probably close to 100 times now. Spent hours on the phone together.
Okay.
Texted, emailed plenty, but I've never met Mike. So that's got to happen at some point this season.
Okay. Yeah, Mike is a bird. He really there are people that stop to appreciate the circumstance. And I try to do it. I really do. I try in my life to do things where you stop for a minute and you go, okay, I really appreciate everything you have and whatever it is, whatever moment you're in. And I do that a lot, like at big sporting events and games and concerts and things like that. But Mike does it for everything. I mean, Mike is the guy that will just look around and observe everything. And we've walked in Chicago before to dinner. We walked to Harry Carey's once, and we were admiring bushes out and back of the NBC television station, and the Chicago Tribune and the old sandstone building in which it's built. We it's just stuff like that when we were in Chicago one time. And when we go to Super Bowl out in LA a few years ago, somebody had turned us on to this Japanese restaurant up in the hills of Hollywood. And we found this place. As a matter of fact, it was Kristen's client David turned us onto it. And Mike walked in. All of a sudden, Mike's gone. And Mike's taking pictures of the plants, of the bushes, of the Zen Buddha that was at the bottom of the hill, of the plates. They had this little thing that they brought out, this little piece of wood with a plate, like a hot plate on top of it, and you could actually cook your own meat. It was so hot, it was fired up on stones. So Mike is taking these chopsticks and flipping the meat side to side to get the best, sear on both sides. And he's taking, it's just so cool to watch because there's an appreciation for every detail in your life around you type of thing. So
Mike is a stop to smell the roses type of guy.
He is.
For
yes,
sure.
He is. He will not only tell you the roses, but he will tell you where they were grown and what kind of manure fertilize them,
where they went to school,
yes.
and how many reps they did on the bench press.
Yes,
every little detail that you need to know.
Exactly. So it's always fun. So, and what's really cool is that we are actually giving away a trip as a part of the motorcycle ride to a lucky couple, whoever they happen to be, or two people, for 2 tickets to go see the Packers and the Bears, and an overnight stay at the Chicago Grand Riverwalk. But can you imagine not only winning this package, but being like this, ardent Packers fan? And, we say, here's your tickets, here's your reservation. We'll see you in the lobby when we'll get you checked in. And then, Mike and I don't have anything to do when we're on the road. We don't, Kristen's got she's got a show to do. She's doing a bridal show with her company. So she's not going. So it's just Mike and I, and we don't do a whole lot. We'll go get a little dinner, walk around a little bit, and then we go back. Can you imagine being these ardent Packers fans and Mike saying, hey, we'll meet you guys in the lobby for some drinks afterwards. And you're sitting in these 4 armchairs in the middle of the Shy Bar. And, you got a few people down there, but it's not overwhelmingly jammed. And you're sharing a drink and you get to go, hey, Mike, tell me about blank. Or, hey, guys, tell us about when you worked with Brett Favre's dad. Or, and you just get this, it just comes out. Can you imagine the value? That's why we call the Packers deal priceless, because you get a chance to just sit down and go, okay, so what happened? Okay, phone's down and here you go. And so can you imagine winning that package? Whew, holy mackerel. Mike is I've often said, if Cliff Crystal wasn't the Packers historian, then Mike should be the next guy in line. Mike should go to work for the Packers. There's not many people that know and remember more and do more research and such regarding the Packers than Mike Clemens. I'll tell you that right now. 877-867-1670. Tom says, does Clemens even have an image in the mirror? No, he's not that nocturnal. But Mike does all kinds of stuff. He does stuff like with his family. You'll see stuff pop up with old high school and college classmates will pop up. His mom's still in Beloit, Wisconsin. So you'll see when he's down there visiting, stuff will pop up about Beloit, so he's got a very interesting past. Very interesting past. Preston says, do you think Aaron Rodgers is going to return to Green Bay to retire a Packer when it's all said and done? Yes. He'll be back. Mark Murphy even alluded to that fact. Aaron will be back. They'll retire his number or, put him in the Ring of Honor or whatever it is they decide to do. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. And my guess is, yes, his number will be retired. He won a championship. He has been, for all intents and purposes, one of the best quarterbacks to ever take a snap under center. The championships, numerous have eluded, but overall, the career has been magnificent. So he will certainly, now this one was extending it a little bit, and this is from Chad, who says, will he go into the Jets Ring of Honor if he wins a Super Bowl there? Oh my God, yes. Oh God, yes. If he wins a Super Bowl in New York for the Jets, my God, yes, he will go into the Ring of Honor. Even if it's 1 year. Let's say they win it this year, you bet. Because he will be the guy that single-handedly almost took him over the top. Without a doubt, he will go into the Ring of Honor in New York. And they will gladly do it. We're going to break. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back, and then Mike Clemens is going to join us coming up here in a few. And Rick said, should Laurie Butler be in the Ring of Honor? He's a Hall of Famer, absolutely. Laurie Butler should be. And I would assume at some point they're going to put him in the ring. Yep. So yeah, I would say definitely yes. So this portion of the program brought to you by our friends over there at Point Brewing, and thanks to Joe Martino and the gang at Stevens Point for all the support and kind of stepping in and taking over some of the local brewery sponsorship. We appreciate that. Always have. Brewing excellence since 1857. Doesn't matter what they have, whether they've got the summertime beverages or the old traditional lager, cider boys, which I love the first press. Not a big fan of some of the other stuff because everybody loves flavors. I just love straight cider, just a straight good apple cider tasting beer. That's really good. So I've always enjoyed Cider Boys. And by the way, Cider Boys, if you're going to say, I know there's Angry Orchard and a few of the other ones out there and Magners and stuff. This is the stuff that actually tastes like apple cider. Just so you know, this is the best of the best. And it's brewed right here in our own backyard, Point Brewing. Stay tuned. Mike Clemens going to join us coming up next on The Bill Michaels Show.
This is The Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
I'm coming.
Hi, Mark Tauscher.
Boy, you just never know when or where you're going to pop up. This time, it's my house.
Can I come in?
You're already standing in my living room.
Tausch, you have mosquitoes in here.
Oh, yeah. It's like an insect zoo right now at my house. Heads up. Here comes that wasp again. Incoming.
Shoo! You need Palla's 250 series of windows with exclusive hidden screens. They fit inside the actual window and protect you from nature.
Okay, now that's just brilliant. Yes, please. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin to the rescue.
You got anything to drink around here?
Yeah, just go right ahead and make yourself at home, I guess.
Ooh, root beer.
Right now at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, bundle and save. Get a 250 series patio door and 8 double hung windows with hidden screens for as low as $188 per month. Visit PellaWI.com today. Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details. Offer ends 8/31/23.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Oh, a bad snap. Love watches it go down to the 20. And they try to fall it, and the Patriots have recovered. The Patriots have recovered the ball at the 17 of Green Bay and an errant snap from the center.
I don't know if you would call it a challenge, but you said you needed to see more consistency from Josh.
I don't know, Josh Myers. I think he's done a nice job. It seemed like yesterday, I thought all in all, especially when you talk about our pass protection, I don't believe there's any hits or pressures on the quarterback. Obviously, he had the one miscue with Jordan on the fumble snap that we can't have happen.
Good to have you back. Bill Michaels Show. We continue on the discussion regarding Matt LaFleur and the bad snap. And that leads us into the last three segments of the program and of our week with our guy Mike Clemens on hand. Michael, how you doing, man?
Pretty good. How are you, Bill?
I'm good. Today's kind of bubble day. So today's the day you start looking at guys going, okay, who really needs to make a showing tomorrow if they're going to remain on this roster? So that's kind of what we've been looking at all day. And I know that's something that you've talked about. You've pointed out a few guys to say, hey, keep your eyes on these cats, Malik Heath being one of them, that they have a real shot at what they've done so far. Wilson is another one as far as the running back goes, who's averaging over 4.5 yards a carry, even if you take away the 80-yard run that he had. There's some guys that have shown some things.
Here's the other thing, Bill. After being at every practice and every media avail and locker room and game and whatever so far for training camp for our show, the last couple of practices I thought is, here's some kids I really haven't looked at in terms of reps. I've got to focus on the end of the line at wide receiver and running back and some of the other corners that are out there, et cetera. So I started watching a number 16, Dre Miller, and, because I don't know if he got any snaps in that game against the Patriots game. And by gosh, here he's with the third string, and I think it was Sean Clifford that threw it to him, but he made a spectacular catch in the end zone. And then there's this Jadakis Bonds from Hampton. He wears the number 6 on offense, a wide receiver. And he's made a couple of catches, deep ball catches this week. He caught one from Alex Magoo, the third-string quarterback. So this occurred to me, after 5 weeks and 15 practices and 2 preseason games and a couple of joint practice sessions, for some of these guys, it's now just starting to click.
Right.
They just got here. And so I said to LaFleur, I suppose that this is something that you and Gutekunst have to go over and you have to account for is like some of these guys that we've got undrafted, we're going to have to give them a month before we start giving them a serious look to see now, do they get it? And let's put them under the spotlight and see if they can perform. And I asked Matt if that's one of his considerations.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think, we go into it every game with an idea of what we are trying to see. And I think that's why it's so important that in terms of the communication with myself and Goody, making sure everybody's on the same page, making sure that we get the proper evaluation and put guys in a position where we get questions answered.
Mike, it's really a difficult situation because you're trying to get the starters reps and guys that needed reps, but yet you're also trying to get a very fair look at the guys that could be on this bubble, and not having that extra preseason game is one of those things that, guys that were kind of bubble guys were against because the last game was usually their game to shine.
And then last weekend's game, you lost 25 snaps, whether it was offense, defense, or special teams, because the game was called with 10:29 left to play,
right?
Because of the injury against the Patriots. And Pete Carroll is coming to town. Now, this is a long-time NFL coach. Is he the oldest? I don't know if he's older than Belichick. Maybe the same age. Belichick is 71. And Pete, I had Gus Bradley as a defensive coordinator and a young guy named Dan Quinn who took over. And then, they won the Super Bowl. And then Dan got a head coaching job in Atlanta. And a young guy, quarterback coach named Matt LaFleur, was on that staff in Atlanta. And LaFleur has often said how much he's learned from Quinn. And I got to think some of that comes from the Pete Carroll tree about competitive periods throughout the week, even during the the regular season. And in terms of formatting things. And so I thought this was interesting that Pete Carroll said yesterday in Seattle before they got on the plane coming to Green Bay today, was that he likes this format now with 3 preseason games, the Seahawks do something they call a mock game. And then after all this training camp work, the players and the coaches are going to get next weekend off. Everybody gets a bye before you kick into a 17-game regular season. He's a huge advocate for this format, he says.
And we've really made it a 4-game evaluation, with the mock game being the first one, and so we kind of haven't left that part of it. But I really, really like this format. I think we've made the league has made great decisions for us to adjust, and the week coming up is an enormously valuable week for us in terms of health and going back to the basics of stuff where you don't have to worry about a game coming up and getting ready for that. And then the next week's game week, so and the way that we cut the squad down because of the way they formatted it is way better than it was before. So I think it's just years of griping about stuff, and I think, there's squeaky wheel, thing happened and they made some great choices. I hope they're not planning on any changes because it works great.
Mike, when you talk about Pete Carroll and things have worked great, getting Geno Smith, comeback player of the year, and watching the train wreck that was Russell Wilson, I mean, a year removed, boy, hindsight being what it is, the Seattle Seahawks made the right choice.
Yeah, and I know a lot of listeners in Wisconsin have disdain for Pete Carroll and the Hail Mary game and those kinds of things. But let's face it, guys, taken this team to 2 Super Bowls, won one of them, been in the NFL an awful long time with 3 different teams. And as general manager, John Schneider grew up here in Green Bay, was one of those Ron Wolf, Ted Thompson guys, and became Pete's GM when Pete got into Seattle and they were taking over the Holmgren regime. And he's put together great teams. As a matter of fact, Schneider and Goody probably going out for a beer tonight once the plane lands from Seattle. And so Pete Carroll's the guy who you asked like yesterday, like, boy, it's been a year now since you traded Russell Wilson. And people claim, well, you Seahawks, you're just trying to tank and get better draft picks. But then Geno Smith came on toward the end of last season, and they got to be a pretty tough team to play. And so Pete Carroll was talking about, 1 year after you trade Russell Wilson to the Broncos, what do the Seahawks look like today?
All being football guys and football players, every year when you come back, it's a new life. It's like a whole life starts all over again. And we clicked into that mode coming out of last season with a really good feeling about the future. The players that have been with us and the guys that lead us and speak for us, they felt strongly that we were on the move. And maybe it was because of there was some unexpected success last year, and okay, now we can build on that and go. Whatever the reason is, attitude has been really on it. I mean, I've said to you guys 100 times now about this group, their mentality, their approach to the game, how they're looking at it, what they bring every day. The attitude and the mentality is so powerful because right now, attitude's everything.
And it is. I mean, when you talk about the altitude and moving on and such, Packers going through something somewhat similar, going ahead and letting go of the quarterback. And now you've got the young quarterback getting ready to take the reins. And, and Mike, as we all know, you can talk about certain quarterbacks, Hall of Famers that have followed Hall of Famers. But there is no franchise in the history of football since the modern day Super Bowl era that has gotten Hall of Famer, Hall of Famer, Hall of Famer in back-to-back succession in their franchise.
Except for maybe one, the 49ers. I mean, Steve Young was there and pushed out Joe Montana. So, you're right about this, though. I mean, the Patriots are still looking for Tom Brady's replacement. The Saints, to me, they're still looking for Drew Brees' replacement. The Colts replaced Peyton with Andrew Luck. That's already come and gone, and they didn't get their Super Bowl. And this was an interesting comment that Steve Young made on CBS Sports Radio about, look, he had to follow Joe Montana. What's his advice for Jordan Love?
Well, the number one advice is that you can't be Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers. Don't try. Everyone will try to compare you, and they want you to be those guys. You just got to say, no, I reject it. I'm not going to try. And they say, and the comparisons are inevitable. Get used to it. Aaron Rodgers never threw an incomplete pass. Aaron Rodgers never threw an interception. Aaron Rodgers never lost a game. I remember when I replaced Joe Montana, there were times when I wanted to go to even my own teammates and go, Joe threw an interception like he did. But, no, he didn't. So there's all of that. It's like a huge mountain that you have to climb that you need to say to yourself, I'm not climbing it. I'm going to leave that mountain alone. I got another mountain over here that I have to go play great football and help this football team win and do good. This mountain, I'm not going to try to climb. And I think that's what happens. If people try to replace others and try to compare themselves, they start to climb a mountain that you're never going to get up. Don't go there. Just leave it behind. Then, and the comparisons and all the pain and anguish and the disparity and how unfair it is, like, accept it all. It's going to be unfair. They're not going to remember anything bad from Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre. You're going to be it's unfairly judged. Like, accept it all and just play great football and take the game to game and take what your coaches say and try to isolate away from the inevitable, incredible mountain of noise that you're going to get.
And that's probably tremendous advice because, now, Aaron Rodgers left and there was some people that were finally just like, look, you're talented, but good riddance. So they're giving Jordan Love an opportunity, but he's right. He's 100% right.
He is. The other thing that's going on is it's like Pete Carroll was talking about there. We've got a whole new attitude. I mean, some of these veteran players, it's great to have the experience, but then they sort of get set in their ways and they make a lot of demands, and then maybe it's time to just sort of clean house. And we get a bunch of kids that are fast, fewer injuries, and we have to work harder to coach them up. But it's easier to go to work, man. There's not so much drama. And they brought back Bobby Ingram, after he kind of went away for a couple of years, and so they can bring back a veteran like that. But I thought that was a very interesting comment from Pete Carroll and essentially John Schneider on, we moved on. It's going to be fine.
Right.
It's going to be fine.
Right. The other thing, Mike, we were talking about before, defensively speaking, as much as we talk about Jordan Love and the offense and the young cats over there, I really believe this year the defense, for all the investments that they've had over the years, this defense has to do some things this year, no doubt, right?
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I've got some quotes coming up from that side of the locker room too, because I'll just put it this way. Jair Alexander called out Joe Barry a lot, last year. And right now he's sort of calling out the Packers offense, which is pretty interesting. If you want to get to that later on. But there's plenty to be excited about with the defense as well, what they've got going on defensive line. There's a few other spots where they think they've got some gaping holes.
Is kicker one of them? Sure they are. We'll talk about that too,
that
right?
Would be special teams. That might be.
Right?
That might be. Yeah.
Okay, let's do this. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We got a lot more to get to. Mike Clemens joining us on the program. We'll be back coming up right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Summer's winding down, but Road America is still racing. Get your tickets and family fun information at roadamerica.com. That's roadamerica.com.
I'm coming.
Hi, Mark Tauscher.
Boy, you just never know when or where you're going to pop up. This time, it's my house.
Can I come in?
You're already standing in my living room.
Tausch, you have mosquitoes in here.
Oh, yeah. It's like an insect zoo right now at my house. Heads up. Here comes that wasp again. Incoming.
Shoo! You need Palace 250 series of windows with exclusive hidden screens. They fit inside the actual window and protect you from nature.
Okay, now that's just brilliant. Yes, please. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin to the rescue.
You got anything to drink around here?
Yeah, just go right ahead and make yourself at home, I guess.
Ooh, root beer.
Right now at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, bundle and save. Get a 250 series patio door and 8 double hung windows with hidden screens for as low as $188 per month. Visit PellaWI.com today. Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details. Offer ends 8/31/23.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
How long do you think you'll go out there at the NBC?
About 2 hours.
So I turned on the weather this morning and they have one of those helpful hints that you're supposed to reduce strenuous activity. So how do you do that during a football training camp?
You don't. You deal with it. It's part of the circumstances, and it's kind of sick of me. But yeah, I don't mind it. I think going through a little tough, something tough is good for you.
Have you ever reconsidered night practices?
Just for you, Mike. We'll hold one later this evening, 8 o'clock.
What if I show?
You could. It'd be great. You'd be the only one there.
Mike Clemens getting his own practice. There you go. Good stuff. Matt LaFleur saying, Mike, come on out. Yeah, you can go to the practice. We'll flip the lights on for you. You can be out there mowing the grass, hanging out. Mike is brought to you by our friends at the Bay Motel, Green Bay. Bay Motel, Green Bay, quiet, cozy, comfortable. The Bay Family Restaurant. They got home style cooking all the time. Go to baymotelgreenbay.com. Great place, cozy, only a mile from Lambeau Field and South Military Avenue. Again, baymotelgreenbay.com. That is baymotelgreenbay.com. Mike, he's going to give you your wish. He's going to turn the lights on. You can go hang out a little bit. That's not a bad way to go.
Yeah, me sitting there on the empty benches with my popcorn. Still thinking about Mike McCarthy and his generators. Now, you remember when McCarthy came up from the New Orleans Saints and said, "Yeah, we're gonna have." I'm gonna try and do a Mike McCarthy here. We're gonna have night practices. We did this down in New Orleans, and I think the players. There's just something about the night practices. There's more energy. The fans love it, and they do. Because if school started early, the parents bring your kids, and it's cooler. And there's just something about the energy under the lights. And they had some pretty long practices, and they rented some generators. And then Mark Murphy said, "Well, heck, let's jazz up the Ray Nitschke field." And so they got it all set up and spent millions of dollars on lights. And then new coach comes along and says, "Yeah, we're going to start practice at 10:30. We don't have night practice."
Right.
And that's all. That's not just him. A lot of it is based on all this. Health stats that he gets from the trainers and GPS and, biorhythms and all that other kind of stuff and player happiness as well. So that's why LaFleur just doesn't do night practices. So,
Mike, we were talking bubbles earlier, and is Anders Carlson on the bubble?
Overall, however many kicks he had, he was 68% in practice. But actually around 84% in practice, according to Bill Huber's Sports Illustrated, in games, or if you also include under the lights in family night. So, practice is practice. You're supposed to try out things. But there's this tremendous moment, and I called you right after it happened because I couldn't believe it. Here's the end of training camp. And for the last couple of periods, the guys are out there, and they're at full speed, and they're scrimmaging. Offense, defense, ones against ones. Running all over the field, and Jordan Love trying to complete some passes and move the ball, and guys trying to pick it off and make some last-minute impressions. And then after a good 2-hour workout, and after a draining and 100-degree temperatures on Wednesday, LaFleur brings everybody in and says, "Hey, let's end training camp," because this was the official last practice of training camp, with an Anders Carlson field goal, huh? So they line up. Now, Rich Bisaccia earlier in that practice had done things to mess with Carlson, the rookie kicker's head. They're supposed to have a period for field goal kicking. He says, "Oh, timeout," and he pretends to throw a penalty flag. Somebody jumped off sides. Now you have to move back 10 yards, just to mess with his head, just to throw something different at him. So here's now all of a sudden, you've been standing there for 20 minutes. You think practice is over, and now the head coach is saying in front of everybody, "Hey, he's going to kick one for us. Let's put the ball down right here from 50 yards out. Go ahead, Anderson." So then the players start squirting water on him and yelling and razzing and having fun. And he sets up, and it's step, plant, kick, wide left. And you can hear like a pin drop, this is how we're going to end training camp.
Right.
So some veteran, maybe Bakhtiari, he yells out, "Hey, let's do over. So the guys start chanting, and they're all there to support him. A step plant kick, it goes up high and between the goalposts, and it's good. So I'll give him credit. He was there at his locker, and me and one other reporter, Chris Roth, went up to him and said, "What do you think about being challenged at the end of practice to kick one from 50 yards out in front of 90 teammates?"
Yeah, I didn't know it was coming, so it was a good surprise. But, it's good stuff to kind of put you in a real game situation. Yeah, I think the first one was a timeout before I kicked it, regroup, hit the next one. And then the last one was a good to kind of back it up, kind of see yourself get back. Because, last game we had the extra point that I thought was going to come back. Actually, they took it on the kickoff. But situations like that, they're going to happen in the game.
So the one at the end of practice, so they put the screws to you. They were crowding you. They were squirting water on you.
Yeah. I think it just heightens up the moment, right? You get some more energy. It's fun for me, I think, just being out there in front of the guys. And, they're messing around, having fun with the water and everything. But for me, it's time to lock in and try to execute a real game rep. I try to assimilate everything. But when you get a little more energy, it feels a little more like Sundays and Saturdays.
The pressure, I guess, Mike, when your peers are squirting water on you and cheering for you and screaming for you and it's getting kind of rowdy, that's a different level of pressure. I mean, what do you say? You missed the first one, you came back, and at least you redeemed yourself,
Yeah, there's just something about what's going on with him is that he's not. It's not like you have to hit all the kicks. It's when you do it. It's hard to explain, but the confidence is in there. And I think the other thing that's hard for guys to sort of figure out is either his reactions or the fact that he's got a strong leg. I mean, they've seen him kick the ball 70 yards. So, and they try and put it under perfect conditions. And so I asked him this: what's it like when all those guys are cheering for him? Clearly they've got your back. And when they want to see you succeed and go out on a high note, do you feel like you're letting your teammates down when you miss one?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say I'm my hardest critic, but definitely when I miss, I'm like, I want the guys to go crazy and celebrate and end off the right way. And it's good to put the second one through, but yeah, it's definitely a morale booster when you do put it through.
It is. You wish it was the first time, not the second time, but nevertheless, at least he got it through the uprights. But like you said, that's a guy that they really believe in his big leg. It's like being a center in basketball that's 7'2". You can't teach height, and you can't teach a strong leg, so they're going to hang with him as long as they can. I did find it interesting what Brian Gutekunst had to say when he came down and spoke was that, hey, they're going to continue to work with him, but once you get into the regular season, he kind of said it's about results. And that meant, to me at least, that, hey, you're going to get a couple of misses, but for the most part, you better start hitting your kicks.
And then 2 hours after that's all tweeted out, after yesterday's practice, there's an SUV that pulls over somewhere in a high school in Texas, and a guy gets out his kicking ball and his kicking tee and kicks one from 50 yards out. And it's Mason Crosby, who makes note that, he's with the kids, but hey, you need to see a 50-yarder? Here you go. And he put it on Twitter. Here's
right.
The audio.
It's always dad season. We've got to keep preparing for football season, too. There it is.
There it is.
Right down the middle.
Right down Broadway. I mean, like it was nothing. Like it was nothing. That's the most amazing thing about it.
I know. So there's that going on, and then when you were earlier, you're talking about defense, and to me, still the gaping hole, like it's been through all spring in this camp so far for me, is who's going to line up at safety next to Darnell Savage. And now they got Rudy Ford back with the ones. They've looked at Jonathan Owens, who they brought up from the Texans, and you know what? To me, I think maybe the seventh rounder, this Anthony Johnson that they've got, maybe this is the kid that has probably got the best shot, being the future in this, unless, of course, after Labor Day, Gutekunst brings in some free agent that gets cut from another team. And I would not be surprised if that's it. But I went to this Anthony Johnson because he's been making some plays, and I said, how much are you learning from Darnell Savage, Jonathan Owens, Rudy Ford in the safety room?
I've learned a lot. I want to give a shout out to the vets in my room, though, like J.O., Dow, Savage, Rudy, all of them, Timur. Man, they've all embraced me and Sap, and they've helped us so much. Like, you always come in and you hear that the vets might not help you or they'll be bad to you. Man, they've been open arms and helped us like, hey, and do this a little better. At times I got a bad rep and I'm hearing it from 6 different guys, and I love that, so just hats off to them and what they've done for me and Sap and continue to do for us, man. It's a pleasure to be around those guys.
Is there a balance between being assignment sure and being instinctive?
Oh, man, I think it is a balance. I would say that you're more assignment sure. When you're assignment sure, I think your instincts allow you to make plays. When you're doing your job, I feel like that's when plays come to you. But when you're trying to force and just play off all instincts, usually out of position and you're not doing things right. So I think when you let the game come to you and let your instincts take over in a moment where if you're supposed to be the deep safety and you be it, then I think that's when you end up making plays.
Mike, when you talk about the veterans, especially guys that try to help you, it's also this team's younger. So the second-year guys, I don't know if they're going to have that veteran experience to lean on, but they're also being looked to step up.
On defensive line, you lost Dean Lowry to the Vikings. Jerron Reed went back to the Seahawks. You got 2 promising rookies. Carl Brooks, Colby Wooden. But you know what? You really need some help from Devontae Wyatt out of Georgia in his second year. And he looks great in the one-on-ones. I think he's throwing his hands around. And I asked him, what changed so that you've got, you're throwing your hands and going after offensive linemen more aggressively?
Confidence. That's all it is.
Really?
Yeah, for me, because last year I didn't have a good confidence because it slowed me down a lot because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know I felt like I was doing everything wrong in my head last year. But this year, definitely the high energy I want to play like. I look at RG a lot, Rashawn Gary, and the way he plays is crazy. So I kind of keep that high motor like him. So.
Rashawn Gary, speaking of him, man, a few words, but at least he's back. Now we'll wait and see if he's ready for the opener, but at least good to see him in the 11-on-11 drills.
In 10 months, coming back from an ACL, and we asked him what it was like to get some snaps in scrimmages this week.
Let's get back to playing real football, getting back to, moving out thinking. So just being back out there with the defense, feeling that energy, flying around my guys, there's no other feeling like it. I'm happy to be back.
How many more boxes do you have to check before you're ready for game day?
I don't know. I got to talk to the head coach, got to talk to the training staff, but I know I got a couple more boxes to check off. But, I know I'm doing a damn job, and I'm where I want to be.
And it's the Packers secondary, Mike. As much as we talk about the group in front, it's the Packers secondary that we have maybe a few concerns. Jair, and you hope to get Stokes and company back, but it's the safety group that's a little bit questionable. But you hope that you can, have that secondary be as strong as maybe what the front is looking to be.
Yeah, and Carrington Valentine, the rookie who has flashed, he kind of dropped off a little bit in the Patriots game. But Jair and Rasul Douglas have been sort of, trash talking the offense every day and challenging him. And we asked Jair, well, what kind of growth have you seen from the Packers offense this camp?
Let's see. I feel like, they're getting on one page, but I didn't see as many false starts today. So, yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
Man, a few words.
Really? That's all you could say?
That's it.
How about the bomb, to Christian Watson, or how about the back shoulder throw to Rasul Douglas? No, they didn't have any false starts.
They didn't have any false starts. Oh, they're on the same page. Okay. Let's do this. We'll break. We'll come back. More of Mike Clemens to wrap things up for the week right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Buckle up. It's all systems go at Potawatomi. Plug in to high wattage play and you could win an all-electric BMW i7. Play now through September with your club card. Prize drawings on Thursdays. There's a shocking $800,000 in total prizes on the line, including the luxury BMW i7. It's time to electrify your drive. Only at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. More info at paysbig.com/BMW. Must be 21 years old and a club member to play.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's awesome. Guys coming in like Peyton Manning, it's awesome to just be able to hear from him, whatever he has to say, and get him around the team. But, I mean, there's been a lot of great moments throughout camp. I think just the biggest thing is the team coming together and bonding through it all and becoming a closer, unit is the biggest thing. I think that's something we've accomplished. But, there's been a lot of great messages from everybody, and I think, each player just has to kind of take what they hear and put it in their own game.
Welcome back to the program. Good to have you. The final segment of the Bill Michaels Show before we get out of here. Mike Clemens joining us on board, brought to you by the Bay Motel in Green Bay. Hey, real quick, for those wondering about the forecast coming up on not this Sunday, but next Sunday for the motorcycle ride, our buddy Drew Burgoyne from CBS 58 just texted me. He said the new models show dry, sunny, and in the 80s, which is going to be perfect. Low 80s, like 81, 82 degrees. So it is just getting better and better and better, and there's no reason not to sign up. Go to facebook.com/Big Unit Poker Run and get the information there. So, Mike, Jordan Love, for all intents and purposes, has had a good camp.
And I thought this was the quote of the week because there was another broken play, and they're trying to get the ball into 88's hands. Luke Musgrave, the 6'6" tight end, his father, Bill Musgrave, an NFL backup quarterback in the 90s, especially in those good teams with the 49ers. And listen to what Luke Musgrave said, what happened on the play.
I didn't motion, which is kind of an integral part of the play, and I was kind of messing up. So, yeah, as he should have got on me, but I think that's the beauty of having such a good quarterback like Jordan is, especially as a young guy, he's a guy that's going to correct you and get you right, and then he's going to come back and move on like a mature quarterback, like the mature quarterback he is. So yeah, I really appreciate it. I know it's probably a frustration dealing with a rookie like me that's taking so many reps, but I got a lot. But yeah, there's stuff that I can't mess up on, like that motion.
There you go. Luke Musgrave talking about, the errant pass, so to speak. Mike, I know it's going to be a difficult cut down day coming up next Tuesday. So just off the top of your head, who has to shine tomorrow?
That's too long of a list. Really, that's too long of a list. I'd like to see someone break through at that safety position. I just think that, people wonder about, Jordan Love playing. Well, this is going to be the weekend of starters. I mean, Justin Fields, the Bears are going to start him, and the Bills are going to start Josh Allen against him. And Aaron Rodgers is going to start for the Jets against the Giants, the team that beat him in London, that knew all of his hand signals and fractured his thumb. So there's going to be a lot of number one quarterbacks are going to be playing this weekend just because these teams feel, let's get these guys going now and see what's going on 2 weeks before we have the opener.
Mike, great stuff.
I tell you what,
yeah, go ahead.
In terms of surprise cut, it was a little bit of a surprise that last week, Saturday night, the number 2 center, which is supposed to be one of the safest jobs on an NFL team, went down with a shin injury, and he got waived and got an injury settlement, and that was Jake Hansen.
Yeah.
No longer here after 3 years in Green Bay.
Mike, great stuff. Well, we will chat again. You'll chat with Grant on Monday. I'll be back on Tuesday, but it's Tuesday, the interesting day for cutdowns, no doubt. Good stuff, buddy.
Thanks, Bill. Safe travels.
Appreciate it, pal. There you go. That's our own Mike Clemens. Good to have him on board. Time for us to get out of here. Until we talk again, Grant will be back on Monday. I'll be back on Tuesday. Time for us to go. Have a good one. See you.